Bam!
Here we go.
Plat chat, episode 155. It feels weird because we haven't actually recorded for like 3 weeks, and if you're Costa, even longer than that. But the viewers actually got a Plat chat episode like last week with me, Avril, Dorian, Hurix, and we talked about contenders and all that. But it feels weird because we haven't seen each other in forever. So, how's it going, guys? How are we?
It feels like yesterday, though. That's the thing.
No, it doesn't.
You're always in the forefront of my mind, Johnny. Always.
I think everyone's...
You're not in mine, Johnny. Just I'm letting you know you're not in the forefront of my mind.
We have something in common with Costa. It feels good.
For the last 3 weeks thinking about each of you individually. One person per week.
Yeah.
Scrambled.
Yeah, we've been all over the place. I mean, I was in Sweden for a while. Costa, it started out with you going to Australia. How was that?
Yeah. It was good. It was good. It's supposed to be like summer or going into summer there though, but it like rained the entire time, so that kind of sucks.
Sounds like Australia.
Yeah, it just rains when it shouldn't, or it's like stupidly hot. But yeah, it was
like
good
Australia.
It was nice. It was good to see family. I haven't seen them since pre-COVID, so it's been many years. But it was good. Not much else happened. Then I got COVID. Came back to LA and got COVID. So that was a good time. Well, it's been a great month off, honestly.
Everybody got COVID.
I didn't get COVID.
Okay,
not doing it right then.
Yeah, clearly. You're not traveling if you don't get COVID.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. So I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. So what do you actually do in Australia? Like, obviously you hung out with family and stuff, but I saw that you and
it's a survival RPG out there.
You and your fiance were like traveling and like being proper tourists and everything.
Yeah. So we went back to Adelaide, went to my beach house. Chilled on the beach
house.
Yeah, he's a millionaire. Scott's a millionaire.
Yeah. The fucking king over here. Got a beach house in Australia.
We live in the middle of fucking. Well, we don't live in the middle. We live in Adelaide, where it's not that expensive and everything. So my grandparents, they bought this thing for like 30,000, like fucking.
Okay, your grandparents.
So
all right.
Yeah, so it's my grandparents' beach house. Okay. But yeah, so we go hang out there. We enjoyed the beach for the one day that it was actually sunny. But what actually happened, it's actually worse than I'm sort of selling it as, because when it rained, it actually was like a mini hurricane, and it knocked power out of my entire parents' home where we were supposed to be staying. So out of the 5 days that we were staying with my parents, 3 of them didn't have power in their main home. So it honestly was a bit of an awful experience, other than the fact that I got to see my family and stuff.
That's what you get for being rich. That's karma.
Not rich.
Karma for being a billionaire.
I would like to have it on the record that I am not, in fact, rich.
The real estate cost over here. He's purchasing land in Australia.
The mogul.
Growing his empire. The Kennedy empire.
Dude, I found out the other day that, what is it, like 90% of Australia is uninhabited. I watched a video on it, which is ridiculous. I was like, oh, Australia video.
But that's like saying that there's nothing in the middle of America, you know? That's
real, though. That's real.
Yeah.
That's real.
This is so funny because we actually talked about this on the Contenders episode, didn't we, Avril?
Did we?
Yeah, we talked about Australia, didn't we?
Nothing in Australia?
There's plenty of things in Australia.
Well, there is. There is.
Coastal
like the
cities,
middle.
The middle is.
Yeah. But like the middle of Australia.
Jack, you're wrong. Hang on,
I should have brought up some stats, bro. I should have.
Jack, there's one thing in the middle of Australia that you're missing. I'm not talking about Alice Springs. I'm talking about the U.S. military base where they keep the aliens.
Yeah,
so I brought this up in the as well.
True.
Yeah, they couldn't fit them all in Area 51.
Real though.
Yeah,
it's real.
Real and true.
There you go. Okay,
we
this
don't know,
Ancient Aliens podcast
here.
Now. We're diverting from Overwatch. We're going straight to Ancient Aliens.
Imageddon. Let's talk to him.
Yeah, it's good.
Dude, I swear to God, like, sometimes it's weird because it feels like even though you don't talk to people, you kind of like consume content and you sort of like, you're sort of thinking about the same subjects at the same time as other people that you don't really talk about. And I'm not talking about like trends you're seeing on Twitter and like...
I'm sorry.
But like,
are you saying
what are the
it's
odds?
Weird for two people to have the same thought?
Jack? What are the odds?
There are billions of people that live on the Earth, Johnny.
What are the odds that we talked about Australian geography
like,
and you brought it up this episode?
Look.
That's not that weird, Johnny.
Yeah, it's not that weird. There's an Australian here and there's a Kiwi
I can tell you how this works. This is Jack's line of thinking. He's like, Scott's going on holiday to Australia. I don't know anything about Australia. Let's take a look at Australia. Then he just goes on this he just goes on this binge tunnel of What else do you know about Australia? That can't be anything. I bet you've been on a whole binge about Australia.
Yeah, what else about Australia, Jack?
I do know a fact about Australia. There's the world's biggest cattle ranch in Australia, out in the fucking middle of nowhere. I don't know where it is, but it's Oh my god, there's like 36 employees, and it's the biggest like open
Anna Creek Station.
Like, yeah, there's the biggest like open cattle ranch. Like, they have so many fucking acres because there's fuck all there. Yeah,
2 million acres.
There you go. There you go. I think that's it. I think. Yeah,
Answer
but anyway,
they
have like it's the biggest cattle ranch in the world.
Wow.
Scott, confirm.
I've never been there.
Oh, no, wait.
I haven't been to all places in Australia. I'm not
Anna Creek Station. There you go. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, it's
9,500.
I guess it's not the. Oh, there you go. There's a bigger one down there. 4 million acres.
Wait,
so you lied to me, is what you're saying?
It's also in Australia.
I lied. But that's
this is 22 million acres in China.
Yeah,
22 million.
Yeah, that's just lying to the people right now. People are getting stupider as they listen to this podcast.
I'm bringing this video up. I need to check this video. I'm going to fact check this a little bit later. But yeah, anyway, the video
it has 100,000 cows.
Yeah, that's bigger than Australia.
They didn't count them.
800 million liters of milk a year. Dude, that is so much milk. 800 million liters. I wonder like what that looks like in volume. Like 800 million
800
liters.
million liters.
Yeah.
How big is that? How many drums?
Actually, while we're on this topic, let me move towards Overwatch just for a little bit. There's been a movement within my Twitch channel that people are saying that they want to call Kiriko's Suzu milk.
Oh,
what?
I
hate that. No.
I don't know.
Apparently, Jake calls it milk, and I feel like we need to put our foot down early before it starts gaining traction, because we cannot call Kiriko's Suzu milk. That cannot bleed into anywhere.
Even if everyone called it milk, I'm still calling it Suzu on broadcast. I'll put my foot down.
Well,
well, sure. I mean, that is the actual term, but there are other terms you could use.
Yeah.
Like if you're a casual enjoyer of the game.
Hands.
Yeah,
why milk? Is it because everyone gets like white for a second or something?
Because Jake wants to say milk me in the game. That's what he wants to say.
Yeah, I've heard Jake say milk me multiple times.
Milk me. That's what he wants to say. That's why he's calling it milk. Clearly, it's just some weird sexual thing. That's all it is.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Very strange.
Wow. No,
this is gonna be a fucking episode, dude. Yeah, I'm already ready for it.
Not milk. There's the go. There's the job for the YouTube comments. Is drop your suggestions for what we should call Kiriko's Suzu.
Just call it Suzu.
No, Suzu
does take a long time to say. To be fair,
it is.
It's
syllables, right?
2 syllables.
It's a lot.
It's 2 syllables.
Yeah, no, but like it's 2 syllables. That's the problem. Everything should like call outs and shit like that. Normally 1 syllable. Like normally.
Yeah.
It's like saying the name of the Greek guy with the boulders, like Sisyphus or something. It's just an annoying name. Just like be called Jeff or something, you know? Why Sisyphus?
Be called Jeff. Dude,
yeah, but it's so hard to pronounce.
When did the Jeff name originate? Okay.
I can't spell Sisyphus. Or, well, I actually could.
S-I-S something. So I played Hades. That's all I know. That's all I got.
So Hades 2 got announced. Holy shit,
dude.
guys.
Wait, can we just talk about Hades 2? That game's going to bang.
Yeah, I actually never played Hades, but people love that game.
You never played Hades?
God,
you need to play Hades, bro. It's one of the best games.
I'm actually not like a video gamer.
I'm not a video gamer. Johnny, it's time to put down the classic WoW and play real games.
Yeah, that's true. Johnny doesn't play games. He just plays Lich King. That's all.
Yeah. But it looks fucking sick.
This is Hades. Yeah.
I don't really understand the lore of where they're going with it, because the other one was like what, Greek gods.
Well, I can tell you.
Yeah. What is this then?
Is that
I don't know.
Roman?
Well, I think it's his sister or something. Or
that's Zagreus' sister.
Zagreus' sister. So I don't know the lore. I don't know anything about it. I just played the video game.
Actually, as someone that was curious about the lore, I was like, who is this? So I looked up who the sister was in like the real Greek lore, which, you know, you might not want to do if you want spoilers. But anyway, I looked it up, and it basically confirmed to me that Hades the father has been cucked twice, because the law says, the real life law says, Melanoe is the daughter of Persephone and was fathered by Zeus. It's not even Hades' daughter, whom he tricked by taking the form of Hades via wily plots. It's real wording. Indicating that in the hymn, Persephone is already married to Hades. This is parallel with another Orphic myth, the birth of Melanoe's brother Zagreus, who was conceived when Zeus, disguised as a serpent, deceived and mated with Persephone.
Hang on a second. So you're telling me Greek gods getting cucked left, right, and center?
Yeah.
I love how you say
each other. That's really how it all works.
That is crazy.
His wife has been getting busy with his brother. That's what's going on.
I love how you say real life lore. Like it's actually real life. It's all made up, bro.
Okay,
it's all made up.
Well,
someone tell him.
I don't believe what I want.
Looks fun though.
Yeah, it does look fun. Like they've really nailed the graphic style as well. I mean, I tabbed out here when all the cool shit started happening, but they do have some fights here after these conversations, and like it looks hella cool. Like look at this, it looks amazing.
If you've never played Hades, I recommend you to go play Hades. It is the best game that exists on the Switch because it runs really well on the Switch. There's cross-platform, so you can save on your PC and then also go play the exact same save file on your Switch.
Wow,
it's one of the storyline is incredibly deep. It has endless amounts of things that you can do. It's a challenge if you want it to be. It's not if you don't want it to be. It hits every beat. It is the game of, in my opinion, the last 10 years.
Whoa!
The best indie game. It's certainly
like a single player game, in my opinion.
I had like an existential crisis. I was like, Overwatch was released within 10 years. Is it better than Overwatch? Yeah.
I'm not comparing multiplayer games to
yeah. No, that's fair. Yeah. I just have a hard time playing those single player games, and I feel like I'm just wasting my time. Like I don't let myself enjoy a game. I don't let myself play a game.
It's a challenge, Johnny. If that's the thing that you
try this one. Try this one.
I definitely feel you though. Like playing single player games, it actually does sometimes feel like a waste of time.
Yeah.
As bad as that sounds, like I can only really get into games that I'm like just kind of obsessed with, like the theme wise, like Cyberpunk, for example. I've played that. I'm on like my second playthrough. It's so good. Like I love Cyberpunk because I love that kind of aesthetic and stuff like that. But like any other game that's not like a AAA and it's like a big open world like that, I very much struggle to actually sit down and play. Like,
what about the Modern Warfare 2 campaign?
Game, I am not, dude. Yeah, like, come on, who's in that?
Like, hey, I've actually heard great things.
I love that.
I've heard great things.
You heard great things, but didn't play it. That's awesome, Johnny.
Well, I watched my fiance play it because she works on the game. But
there's some personal bias coming in on that one.
I watched it, and it looked good. It looked like original missions and all that. I think the campaign got really good ratings. There were some, you know, chit chatter about the multiplayer.
You just said original. Yeah, you just said original content when they literally made a game that already existed because Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 already existed, and they use all the characters from the original campaigns as well.
Don't use my words against me. Don't use my words against me. Like I looked at the missions and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is a pretty cool mission. Like this is pretty engaging, you know. Like one is like sneak up on this, you know, lighthouse and, you know, take out the guards, and like it looked fun, and then the other one was like a chase and there's cars everywhere.
That sounds like campaign is definitely improved over the years. Like, oh my god, like the older CODs, like COD 4, like original Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops, like they were good. And then I felt like Infinite Warfare, like that kind of era of COD, Black Ops 3, like that kind of era, dude. I just gave up with the campaigns, man.
No, Infinite Warfare campaign was actually really good. If you like sci-fi and like space stuff, like the Expanse and stuff, Infinite Warfare's campaign was actually pretty fucking goated for that.
There we go. I don't know what the go-to like video game review website is these days, so I can't get away.
Definitely not Kotaku. Those guys hate us. Overwatch news. Bad.
Dude, I can't believe they introduced a battle pass.
Oh god, we're not getting into it yet. I was going to ask Jaws about his trip as well, because you went home to the UK, but I mean, we've been off the goop here for so long. Are there any big takeaways from your trip there, Jaws?
I don't like the cold. I'm going to say it. I prefer being very warm. I'm not like a massive fan of like being cold at all, so the UK, like the weather-wise, kind of sucks for me. I didn't realize how much I hated the cold until I went back. Like, I don't know. The UK cold's different to every other cold, I swear to God. It's very like bitter, it feels like. But yeah, it was nice seeing fam and stuff like that. Yeah. It was
Sweden cold was like refreshing.
Yeah, like snowy countries. This is what I said to my parents as well. I was like, look, like skiing or like countries where you can go skiing, the air feels very fresh and it's like, I don't mind at all. But when you're in the UK, like the cold just feels so different. I'm not sure what if it's like the wind or like something like that. I don't know, man. It just feels different to me. Maybe
are you coastal? Because I'm very coastal in Sweden. Like I'm very
I'm coastal too.
Yeah. Like so if you walk near the ocean, like you're fucked. It's like the breeze is unbelievable.
Oh, I mean, yeah, definitely not the same level of cold as is Sweden for sure, but Like it was nice though. I mean, went to London, Brighton, stuff like that. It was pretty good.
Yeah,
pretty good. I did have COVID before that though. That was fun. Isolated. That was awesome. God. Yeah, came back from Korea, got COVID. That was fucking sick.
I dodged that somehow.
COVID's like that Godfather quote or whatever. Or no, it's a Godfather. Or it's like just when I thought it was out, it pulled me back in. It's like that. That's COVID. It's just like, oh, COVID. We've dealt with that, right? And then people are like, oh, we got COVID again, and it just doesn't stop. Like it just doesn't disappear. It's crazy.
I don't think people are getting it too bad though. Like I don't know how many variants we on now. How many different sets, Pokemon card sets, COVID card sets are we on right now? Like the 6th variant or something. Like this one, I don't feel. I don't know. I didn't lose taste. I didn't lose my sense of smell or anything like that. I was just kind of sick, and that was it. Although I've got 4 boosters, so maybe that's one of the reasons why. But yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. All right.
I want it again. But...
Yeah. What about you, Avril? What you been up to these past 3 weeks?
Yeah. Since I came back to Korea, nothing really, not much. I think I casted a bit of Contenders Korea and did a little bit of hosting work for Fortnite and Apex, which was interesting. And that's about it. I didn't get to have another holiday. These guys.
Oh my god, I can't believe Avril is leaving Overwatch for Fortnite.
Oh no,
he's doing it.
We like Fortnite.
I knew it was gonna happen. It was only a matter of time.
Weirdest experience ever. Look, if I wanted to leave for Fortnite, I'm about 4 years too late for that one. Yeah, I didn't get to have a second holiday. I might be going back to New Zealand soon, so that'd be fun. But I was in Australia. Scott was in Australia. We were just in different cities.
Yeah.
Others did not cross.
No.
Same as when Uber came back to Australia as well. It was like Adelaide, Brisbane, done. Goodbye.
Yeah. Because it's like most of the time you go to Australia, it's like you're just stuck there for like a little bit, but you're like, well, I want to see all of my family because I've missed them for like thing. I'm not going all the way back to Australia. Avril, to see you. I saw you 3 weeks ago. Well, we actually the last time we all saw each other and all talked to each other, we actually played Top Golf recently. So we actually caught up very recently after the finals. Yeah,
that's true.
After the finals.
My swing is immaculate.
Yeah, so no, Jack might be the worst golfer I've ever seen in my life. It was impressive.
It's so true. I have no idea how to hold the club, bro. I just hit it. I literally grug it. I'm just like a
grug it. How would you describe a golf swing? I grug it.
I grug it. Just swing a big club at ball. Hopefully it go far.
Avril, how do you travel between New Zealand and Australia? Do you take a flight?
How else would you get?
There's a body of water between the two countries.
Yeah, but I was like, do you take like the ferry? But it looks quite far.
No, that's a long ferry.
It's too long for that.
It looks quite far.
There probably is a boat for it, but it would take days.
Remember, maps are like deceptively especially Australia and New Zealand, like it's so deceptive.
Like Indonesia is closer than New Zealand.
Yeah, I mean, just look at this distance here. Just like, I know Google Maps is not very accurate, but that looks like a country. Kilometers. Yeah, that's
a little far for a ferry.
How long does it take to fly that?
It's like a 3 or 4 hour flight, right?
Whoa!
No, about 2 to 3 hours.
Oh, really?
Pops.
Wait, that's massive. So they're like in different time zones and shit.
Yeah, yes.
I think 1 hour.
Why would you take a ferry? I was like, bruh.
So I thought it was like a Nordic country kind of thing, where it's like, oh, you know, it's Norway and it's Sweden and it's Australia.
You just get into your little rowboat.
This is actually like
Sweden and Norway are connected. You thought?
No, but I'm saying in kind of like a national like relationship. But this is massive. This is.
Johnny is feeding into the narrative that Australia and New Zealand are the same place.
Johnny
is not helping this.
Dude, that reminds me. That actually reminds me.
I thought the thing was like
that doesn't believe Australia is real.
Yeah, people say that to me all the time.
Dude, Australia's not even real, bro. They just made it up. It's a big conspiracy. New Zealand's not real either. Makes no sense.
No, I thought they just set up like a government in New Zealand to just meme on Australia, but apparently it looks like it's deserving of a different kind of
they're their own country. They got their own stuff.
Wow, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
It's mostly the same stuff.
What if we have a LAN in Tasmania? Can we do that?
That would be sick.
I've never been to Tasmania, so I don't know what's there.
Johnny's learning right now.
Tasmanian Devil.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I know them for.
Actually, was a Overwatch Contenders player that comes from Tasmania.
Oh, that's cool.
He actually went to a few LANs for Contenders. He was at Pacific Showdown 2019. Wow. He was actually still playing Pro this year quads.
What's the population?
It's the one dude I know from Tasmania.
Actually, Johnny, here's something I did do in Australia as well. I went to Perth, and it's pretty much like the only place. There's an island off the coast of Perth which has quokkas. And Google what a quokka is.
No. What's that?
No.
It's so they're these incredibly cute animals that exist pretty much only in Australia. And the reason they only exist in this little island is because they would die to anything. They're so cute, but they also just let you touch them and go up to them. But if you touch them, they kind of like die. Like if you touch their children, the mother just like abandons the child. They're like, well, you're like tainted or something like that. And they just abandon the child.
What?
Yeah, they're very vulnerable to predators. What did you call these? Quokkas, Quukk.
I can't spell. Qukk. What?
OKK.
Oh, quokka?
Yeah, quokka. Look at this thing.
Oh.
They're very adorable.
They're really cute. They're really cute.
And so you're just like, I want to pet them, and you're like, oh, I just killed it.
but you're not allowed to touch them. But they I have a bunch of like good videos and like of them hanging out. They're really cute. The thing that they always crop out in ththese things though is their tails are enormous and they're like rat tails, but they are still very cute.
What's up?
Look at that guy.
Yeah, getting real close to him. So
pretty sick.
That quokka didn't survive.
Yeah, no, that quokka's dead now. But you know, it was a cute photo. So that was something I did in Australia. There you go. They smile, yeah. They have like the way that their like faces sorted, they kind of look like they're smiling a lot of the time.
The National Quokka Day is 14th of September.
Oh, that's lovely.
Cool. Oh, there you go. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's nice. I learned something new about quokkas today. Keep in mind they are vulnerable people, so don't go about just like bopping them. That's not good. Don't do that.
Bop them.
Yeah.
Bop it.
Bop it. Don't do that. Oh boy. Anyway, shall we get into Overwatch then?
Yeah, let's talk Overwatch.
Let's talk about Overwatch. You know, the reason we took 3 weeks off as well is because I was gone as well. So, you know, celebrated Thanksgiving, and then I went over to Sweden, got a new visa, so that's PogChamp.
Yay, big visas.
I've been so isolated because I was just staying in a cabin by myself, and it was like a 1-bedroom apartment, but almost like smaller, with a laptop, and I haven't played any games. I haven't been able to play Overwatch. I haven't been able to play Ramattra, and it's hard to like stay in tune with the trends because I'm 9 hours away from everyone else. So when I wake up, Twitter's fucking dead until like 4 p.m. And so I'm just existing for like 8 hours of my day before actually like the world wakes up, the world I live in. And so it was just an absolute mess trying to stay up to everything. But shoot, where do we even start? I mean, it's season 2 with Overwatch 2. So let's just get into it. It's a fresh start, you know, new patch notes, new battle pass, you know, we got Ramattra out there, but he's still in quick play, right? I think he gets activated in ranked in like a week. Is it a week? Yeah. So you know, it's been quite a while. What's like the state, if you had to rate like the state of happiness from the community, rating it like 1 to 10, where do we think we are on the joy scale of like, I'm an Overwatch fan?
The problem is the scale for the fans' happiness is always low no matter what it is.
Yeah.
So.
But, okay, going from like not just the fans, because I think the fans are upset about the wrong things. They're still upset about the battle pass and the monetization, and we're not going to talk about that.
All right, the Custa scale.
Let's go to the Custa scale of like metas where we are, and all the ones included in the past. This meta is about a 3 out of 10.
It's a 1.
No, it's not a 1. It's not the worst meta we've ever had. It's a bad meta though. It's real fucking bad. We have Roadhog being meta. Kiriko is almost like a must pick, and that makes the Roadhog almost unkillable. So it really becomes like a Roadhog off of like who hooks not each other, because they don't really even kill each other that much. Like if they're playing it properly, it's like what 200 HP target do they kill? Sojourn's still really strong. People are mercy pocketing that Sojourn to make him still very viable, which is just annoying. And then they also buff Doomfist into orbit. So if you play against an incredibly good Doomfist player, it's like unkillable because they have such short cooldowns on almost everything. They get more shields now. The empowered punch happens more often because they reduce the threshold of it. So now you either have an unkillable Roadhog or an unkillable Doomfist just facing off against each other, and that's ranked. And as you can imagine, that's why it's a 3 out of 10.
It fucking sucks. Like, it's bad. Like, having Suzu in the game, I didn't realize how much it would like impact, and I think it took a little while for everybody to kind of get there. Like you said, Scott, Roadhog's fucking immortal. And then I dislike Mercy's kit, but I didn't think it was ever to the point where I'm like, you should probably remove one of those abilities apart from Bluebeam. But like Resurrection is now a problem too, because like you said, it's like a Roadhog off, but like everybody's sitting so far back now. All the Mercy players with the Master Challenger and then their duo, the top 500 Challenger hit scan player, they're just sitting miles apart from each other playing Ashe or Sojourn. And then as soon as you kill one, they insta-res, like they're just spamming E while they're hiding behind like a wall. It just blows. And like as a support, like you have to play Kiriko, like you said, because Ana's fucking useless. Because you can just cleanse the anti. Like it does not feel good at all. It's definitely a meta where it's like the most frustrating for 8 players in the server that aren't the hogs.
It honestly sounds like one of those
5 of the players on the team,
like April Fool's Day events where they just like do wonky shit with the patch notes, and you're like, oh, Reaper can fly and stuff. But the meta is unkillable Roadhog, unkillable Doomfist with Mercy pocketing hit scan.
Yeah,
that does sound awful.
This was kind of a worry that I think a lot of people had, especially at the beginning of Overwatch 2, where it's like, okay, so we want to transform the tank role into like this bruisery kind of role. So it's like, it's not like a pure, like I am, because even Reinhardt got like buffs, double fire strike, like, you know, he can cancel charge to make him more of like, I can just get in there and brawl, you know, like rather than just like holding shield. Same with Orisa, got changed completely. No more shield for Orisa anymore. He's only got the javelin spin. But it has now got to that point where I think everybody was worrying, where tanks are just big DPS, and big DPS with an invulnerability, pretty sick. Pretty sick.
I will say
2 problems.
Oh, sorry. Doomfist doesn't kill that many things. Like Doomfist doesn't kill that many things. He's like, he does do a lot of damage and he can kill people.
I thought his punch is insane now.
Yeah, his punch is good, but they reduce the stun on the wall, I think. So it doesn't feel like you'll get like, because you remember before, if you were 200 HP target, if they hit you with the empowered punch into the wall, they could close the distance and double shotgun you. Yeah. That's sort of been removed, but it's just like, he's unkillable. Like if the Doomfist is good enough. So you can go over.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it doesn't surprise me that these are problems when you consider, like, immortality-based abilities like Lamp. We complained about this for, like, a very long time with Bat, and they added a second one.
I will disagree. Lamp is fine. Because we're at the point, at the stage of Overwatch right now, where people insta-shoot Lamp. Like, it was a problem before, but it also has a 22-second, I believe, 22-second cooldown.
Here's the thing.
Suzu has a 14-second cooldown, plus you have to stay inside of the Lamp to actually get effectiveness out of it. Plus, it doesn't.
So there's, which obviously makes Lamp better because there's counterplay. But my point is, like, those immortality-based abilities are problematic. They were problematic before. They're still problematic now. Okay, we've learned to get past Lamp, but Suzu is just a different story, and now you got 2 of them. Not that they overlap too much because you don't see those 2 get played together. And then Rez, it's just like, well, it's not a surprise because I've always felt that Rez was super problematic as an ability. Like, I've hated Rez since day one. I felt like it's super anti-skill and just anti-fun as well. Like, I mean, double Rez, you talk about worst metas ever. The double Rez meta that we have in Overwatch League was easily one of the bottom ones for me ever. Like, how unbelievably ridiculous was that?
That clip will always stay in my mind. Anubis, oh god, was it Valiant? Maybe Valiant versus Shock, but like someone gets an unbelievable headshot on Anubis point A, one of the Widowmakers, sniping down. She was on the top left, if you're like on the defender's side on the high ground, and she shoots down onto the platform like this guy just flew past, and she boom, headshots near the mega on the right-hand side if you're on defender side of things. I remember that shot. It's like, holy shit, that shot was insane. And then Mercy just goes, E! And it's just like, okay, dude, that fucking blows. I think, especially in a 5v5 game, I do not think Rez should be in the game.
Rez shouldn't have been in the game anyway. I've always felt like it's a dumb ability. Like, so much of what Mercy does, in my opinion, straight up ruins the game. And a lot of it does come from the Rez. So I'd be a lot happier if she just didn't have Rez. All the Mercy mains, Mercy one tricks are probably crying right now because, I don't know, their waifu heroes, you know, suggest to be broken. But
let me defend us Mercy waifus real quick. Because the most important thing for me is like Mercy is incredibly cool when she's being played in a way in which she is moving with the team. She is working as a unit and you're like damage boosting people getting close. You're using that. But that's not really how she is used almost ever. As you said, she is more just blue beaming one person in the back, not really healing anyone else. As Jack said, right now, the big issue is they are usually a low ranked player, just damage boosting some really high ranked hitscan player who then is able to carry the game because they have that level of pocket, right? Especially when you have Sojourn, where if you have Sojourn Mercy versus just a Sojourn, that fight becomes almost impossible to win because like you just have a lot less freedom to make mistakes and stuff like that.
Especially now when you can't one shot. So like you do 195, call the Sojourn hides behind a corner, gets healed back up. We're back to where we are. I'm not saying that one shots should be in the game because I don't like those either, but yeah, I'm just like the whole Mercy pocket situation, how she actually gets played, where the rest of your team doesn't see this Mercy ever, and you're actually just working with one healer, and this one Mercy is just chilling in the back, like way back, healing one person. It's like, come on, that's just such a lame gameplay.
It validates so many cool plays and things. Like Widowmaker, I disagree. I think like Widowmaker and stuff like that should be able to one shot, being a very like high skill hero because
she has a lot of weaknesses.
Yeah, she has a lot of weaknesses.
She does have a lot of weaknesses, and that's why like she's fine. Like, but a Widowmaker hitting like a cool grapple, like Junkertown first, she fucking grapples up, you know, on the big building, you get a nice little one shot. But like the problem is Mercy just hits E because you can't grapple again. It's like it just kind of my big issue is that it invalidates a lot of like cool plays. It's like, okay, Rez is down, yay, we got Rez out.
And also,
but it'll be
I'm okay with Widowmaker being in the game, but that doesn't mean I would be okay with more Widowmakers, because then it's just like, what if they just made Sojourn really weak in other areas? Like, well, then you just have another Widowmaker. It's like, we don't need more Widowmakers in the game. We don't need more of those types of heroes. So
I mean, I don't really mind res. I think if it's used like within a fight, like to get someone up, that like currently in a fight, like you're down like 3 versus 4, and like you get up someone to get even. But if the main use is just like to minimize like people getting picked before a fight, then it feels kind of shit, because then you're like, oh, we got to pick.
That is literally how Mercy is played.
Yeah, but then it's like, oh, we got to pick, and it's like, oh well, fuck, they just rested, so now we got to start from scratch again. Like that kind of sucks.
There was a funny Twitter video. Oh man, I'm gonna can't remember the content creator that put it out. Was it Eski maybe? I don't know, but it was. I'm sure everybody's seen the meme of the sweaty guy, and he's like smashing the keyboard, like the mouse and stuff, and he's like sweating. It's like it was that like as a streamer like picture thing, and then an Ana player, and then the guy like dancing to music. As the Mercy player, like standing behind, like holding right click, like that. That to me is like, okay, it's probably a problem. And I do want to caveat and say, like, I just made a whole fucking video on this like 2 hours ago, and I'm just gonna fucking repeat myself. But like, I think the problem here as well with this argument is that there should be heroes in the game that don't require as much skill as like a Zen or like an Ana, to enable people that may not be good at like an FPS aspect of a game to have a good entry into the game. And I think that's what draws a lot of people to like Mercy as a character, is because the character, in essence, to get a lot of value, well, to get like a middling amount of value, you don't really need to do much. And getting to grips with that and then transitioning onto things like Ana is like, you'd think that would be a perfect transition, right? But the problem is Mercy, especially at this point in the game and this point in the meta, you can play it at such a high level where like it's just frustrating to play against. And you're not seeing, technically you shouldn't see like those lower skilled heroes, unless in a specific situation, being played all the way at the very top. Like there should be easy heroes in the game that get people to grips with positioning or whatever, to then transition into harder heroes, which are more effective at a higher rank, for example, like Overwatch League level.
There's the problem with your statement, while being extremely rational and probably true, is the fact that the player base themselves don't want that, because true story here, back in the double instant res Mercy phase, where she was unbelievably broken, when she got nerfed, one of the most justifiable nerfs I've ever seen in my life. Scott knows what's coming. There was the biggest community outcry from the Mercy mains I've ever fucking seen. The tears filled up the fucking lakes, man. It solved the drought crisis in Australia. Was how much fucking tears were flowing. Like
Ilios, bro.
That shit solved the global water crisis. That shit like fucking raised the sea level. Like, it was unreal. It's like your hero was the most broken shit ever. The easiest no-brain stuff I've ever seen. Double instant res on E. It's like, what is going on? And it was justifiably nerfed. And these people they were crying so fucking hard. So the point is, Jack, is that while you may be right and that Mercy shouldn't be viable up there, if it's not viable, the Mercy mains will cry and then she will be viable.
Well, you know, we gotta, you know, if Mercy's a problem, then we gotta do something about Mercy. You can't, you know, let there be water, you know, like,
let there be floods.
Yeah, let there be floods.
We're getting Noah's Ark quick. We're not surviving this.
But, you know, just rinsing Jack for content here now because he's got a video planned. Like, it sounds like if we sort of reduce the effectiveness of Blue Beam, then that would be a step forward in the right direction because then you'd minimize that. People just sitting at back
damage boost. Damage boost is a problem. Like,
I agree. I think damage boosting is damage boosting without like it being an ult, like an honor ult or like ult. Fucking Jesus Christ, that was a problem in itself. But like, you know, as an ult or like an ability that requires like, oh, a big cooldown or something. So you fucking, you know, old armor pack. What if you threw a pack at somebody? It was on a 20-second cooldown. It gave them a damage boost for like, I don't know, a few seconds. You know what I mean? Like something like that, like a big investment. Like the investment for Blue Beam is nothing. Like literally nothing. Yeah. You can also switch to the healing beam too, right? It's damage boost is definitely problematic. I would say I would rather have a nerf on the res or just removing res completely than having a removal or a reduction in like damage beam.
I don't think you'll ever see res be removed because it is just such a big part of her kit. Like it just like her character design is built around that mechanic. I agree. I think anything in which it enables another character is an issue, right? In that way of like, it's the same thing that we're talking about with Suzu, where it's like, it's impossible to balance the game around a mechanic when you have one that like massively changes. Like when Kiriko Suzu got announced, people were like, that's going to be strong, but we didn't know how or why in a lot of ways. Not many people were saying, well, this is going to make Roadhog unkillable. But that's the issue, is when you add these mechanics that sort of massively enable someone else with immortality, with an extra damage boost and anything like that, it becomes very difficult to see the effects of that and which character that's going to affect, right? Sojourn and Roadhog right now, I actually like the Sojourn nerfs. I actually think they were pretty well placed. I think they solve a lot of the issues. The only thing that is really sort of making Sojourn still very strong is the fact that Mercy still exists in the game. On top of that, because of the way the game is being played with the Kiriko and the Roadhog, Kiriko and Roadhog are just playing their own little game, and then the Sojourn and Mercy are just playing their own little games of who's going to one-shot someone first, right? Which is really fucking annoying in a lot of ways. So another thing that, like, if we're adding someone to the nerf list, Junker Queen is a hero that her entire embodiment of her tank kit is that she heals herself. You get to the end of a game, she's probably healed herself for about 1,000. Like throughout the entire match, if she's done more, she'll start adding up. They did buff that to 1.25 in this most recent patch. Roadhog does that in 4 take-a-breathers. Like he heals himself so fucking much. Like you get to the end of every single game, and the Roadhog, if he has been playing aggressive, has been playing it right, usually has more healing than the Lucio. Probably not more than the Kiriko because of how much her single healing is. But if you do a 15-minute game, the Roadhog's probably going to have close to like 8,000 to 10,000 healing in the game. And that is a fundamental problem with Roadhog as well. Not just the Suzu, but his ability to be massively self-sustainable with just the heals. I think they need to reduce that to about 200 to make him less able to just walk into the open and just like heal it off in like 6 seconds, or make the cooldown longer so that there's more of a cost to making that decision of playing so aggressive and stuff like that. Because right now, the risk to reward with Roadhog Kiriko is just so minimal. The biggest issue that you have as a Roadhog right now is getting hooked by the other Roadhog. That's the only counter. And that's when you have these issues of when the counter to a hero is the same hero. And that's why you get these hard metas of Roadhog. And especially, Roadhog's not that hard to play. Like, at the highest level, yes, he is. But fundamentally, he's not that hard to play.
It's the same. Jesus Christ! I've just read my whole fucking script. It's literally the same like kill loop. Is the gameplay loop is peek, hook. Do you hit hook? Yes, you kill. Hit no. Okay, go back. Maybe heal. Also, don't forget, Scott, as well. Damage reduction when he hits E.
Yeah.
So not only does he heal,
I mean that's stupid. So,
yeah. Which is ridiculous, right?
And the only counter we have in this fucking game has always been Ana. Like, we can sleep him as it means that he can't just use his heal in front of us. There's a punishment to that. We have a nade to follow up, which is a punishment to that. But literally, if you sleep them, they usually get Suzu'd off the rip, which means that they can get up. Even if you purple them, they'll probably be fine. Or they just wait out the sleep. As soon as you throw your purple at them or they get hooked, they get Suzu'd, right? So it's like, every single punish that exists in this game doesn't exist. And you can't even play Zen because the aforementioned Sojourn Mercy is sitting in the back line just waiting for you to peek your enormous fucking balls around the corner and then just rip your head off.
Can I say, like, I think if you remove the damage reduction from the heal, he wouldn't be a tank. Like, this is part of Roadhog's problem, is he's barely able to tank anyway. He just has a huge, like, health pool with no damage mitigation because he's got no armor. And the only way he tanks for the team is by taking a breather, taking some heat, and then walking away fine. Like,
so you're saying the biggest problem with Roadhog's design is essentially that his kit is built around a cooldown, not hook, and if you don't have hook up, then you shouldn't participate in the fight.
He's not a team hero. The problem is when you have tanks in the game that don't fulfill the role of what you traditionally think a tank is. And I'm not saying every tank needs to be Reinhardt, but like if you go so far in the other direction that Roadhog is literally fat DPS, or in Jungle Queen's case, I think she's fat DPS as well. That's a problem. It's like, at least you got to be Zarya where you might bubble your team. Like, that's something. But for super selfish tank heroes to exist like that, it doesn't. It's not good for the game when those heroes.
And that was okay in Overwatch 1.
Yeah,
because you had another tank.
I actually disagree. You know, I think that Roadhog could be a nice niche if you're like a solo kind of thing, and like, oh, you can like take a breather or whatever. But the fact that no one can punish you, like if you're mispositioned or like if you mess up a CD or like people can't dive you, I mean, that is the problem, right? If you combine Suzu with take a breather plus damage reduction, it's going to be so hard to kill the Roadhog. You know, a flank solo tank lineup doesn't have to be bad, I think.
You want to know what I think a problem with Suzu is that it both cleanses and invulnerabilities. It like should be one, not the other.
Yeah,
why both?
Spoke about this
both is crazy.
Live. Just remove the invulnerability on Suzu. Just keep it as a cleanse. Give it a little bit more healing, but just remove the invulnerability.
I actually think I'm in the opposite direction. Because I think the cleanse is too niche. Then you're running into there's only certain heroes that it's good against. I don't think it should cleanse. I don't think it should have the ability, because the immortality is quite short and it doesn't give you a lot. The big thing is that like Junker Queen is just flat useless against the Kiriko, like because her ultimate gets mitigated like so quickly on the characters that it usually is. So it makes it, you have to play around it so much. Like, I don't know. Like, I think Kiriko needs a pass of nerfs. I think the Suzu needs to get hit, and I think her single target healing needs to get hit a little bit. But now you've brought me to the position in which I can say it, because I said this on SVB's broadcast as well, podcast. Delete Roadhog. Like, I genuinely think we're getting to a point. We're getting to a point in the game where hopefully we're going to have more heroes coming. Maybe not delete him right now, but in the future, he needs to get deleted from the game, because as a tank, he fundamentally doesn't work in the game of Overwatch. He plays a solo game. He is a one-shot character. He does not play as a tank. And I think that there is no amount of balancing that you can give him or like changing it unless they just do a ridiculously large rework.
You have to completely rework the hero.
Yeah, and I think
exist in the game.
That is the problem, I think, with Roadhog. And I think we're going to have so many new heroes coming through in the future that it'll get to a point where the game will be fine if he doesn't exist in the game. There's
another way to do that, Scott, which is to nerf him so hard that he's not worth picking.
But we've had that in the past for the last like 5 years. He's either incredibly annoying to play against or he's useless. And
yeah, that's and you know, heroes like this still have like a player base. Like there are still Roadhog fans. There are Roadhog mains, and like even if Roadhog is bad, you enabling that fan base to play the hero that is obviously bad for the game, that is bad for the game. Like there's no other way around it. So I think what Scott is hinting at is like we need to remove the ability of players ruining the game of others by playing a hero that shouldn't really be in the game. Like that doesn't fit the philosophy of the game. So I can kind of see that. I mean, you can still look, there's been plenty of reworks in this game and some have been great. So you could still preserve the nature of Roadhog and like still have a fan base around the Roadhog. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this ability set.
It just needs a complete rework as a hero to be viable. Give him a fucking arm shield or something, you know what I mean? Like,
an arm shield. Roadhog.
Or like, I don't know, something like he holds up a fucking metal door. Like he's a scrapper, isn't he? Like just fucking hold up a metal door and he's like, and people shoot it and shit like that.
Here's what they should do with Roadhog. Yeah. What should happen is when heroes die, they should drop a piece of scrap, and then you could go pick up the scrap. And then when you get enough, you can throw those scrap pieces and it gives someone 50 armor. Think about it. It could be interesting idea for the game.
They could call him Torbjorn.
Yeah, he could change it to Torbjorn and maybe he can build things.
Whoa, no way! That's
How many
not like
people
efficient
are
things,
called
things.
Torbjorn in Australia?
1.
I can't find this info anywhere. Anyway.
Well, there's none then.
Damn.
Yeah, tough.
Probably not even one called that in Sweden.
What? My uncle's name is Torbjorn.
Your uncle's name is Torbjorn?
Yeah.
Dude, he's trolling.
Genuinely Torbjorn.
Yeah. Don't fall for the bait.
Yeah.
No, it's genuinely Torbjorn, and he's like, you know, the most Torbjorn guy ever. Not as in like he's a dwarf and he builds turrets, but as in like he's you know, he's fucking cool. Like he's a solid fucking Torbjorn. Yeah, I don't know how to explain
solid
it.
Fucking Torbjorn.
Yeah,
solid.
What does that mean?
Fucking Torbjorn.
No,
baby.
he's been hunting some in real life. You know, he has a car shop. You know, he can you know, if your table's broken, he knows how to fix it. You know, he's a fix it kind of guy. He's just a fucking just a great fucking uncle. Like he knows everything. You know, like if you're like, oh, I need to put on my winter tires, he's like, oh, I got you. Come into my garage, I'll put with the tires on, and then you go over for dinner, and he's like, "Oh, I shot this deer yesterday. Here's some stew," and he's like, "Oh, this is great. Thank you, Torbjorn."
He just sounds like the Torbjorn in the game.
Pretty epic.
Yeah, he's awesome. So yeah, there are actual Torbjorns in real life. I got an uncle.
I'm on the Torbjorn Wikipedia page, and there's famous Torbjorns: Norwegian footballer, Swedish footballer, a TV producer, handball player, politician, billiards player. Like
any Australians?
It's real. He's not trolling.
Yeah.
No. It doesn't look like it. There's no Aussies. Danish. There's a Dane.
Yeah, I mean it's a Nordic name, but that doesn't surprise me. All right. Anything else with the balance? I feel like we hit most of it. Anything else? Any big emotions that just like, oh, these heroes are
okay? Let me bring us back down to earth with some reasonable take. I think there's been a lot of sentiment around buffing support because of the issues that exist, but I actually don't think supports need buffs. I think that the other heroes need to be realigned. Like the tanks and the DPS need to get pulled down. And I actually think there's the entire support roster, other than Kiriko, is pretty much fine right now. Other than like, obviously Mercy is like a fundamental thing of like, she's kind of balanced, but she's just annoying. And she's kind of enabled by this meta right now. But other than that, I think supports are in a fine spot. They just need to work out tanks and DPS a lot better, because once Roadhog and Sojourn and all that kind of stuff stop being as oppressive, and Doomfist now, supports will feel better. But for right now, supports just feel garbage because of the spot the game is in. But don't buff all the supports. Buffing everyone is not the solution to problems. It should be nerfing, because that's how you end up in the issue of power creep, and the game just becomes like this ridiculous hodgepodge where everyone's overpowered.
Okay, so I got a bit of a transition off that note. You know, I've seen this everywhere as well. So how does the tracer buff play into that? Do you feel like with the tracer damage buff, is it significant enough that like it's really hamstring?
That's got to be the bug, right? That's got to be a bug. It's a bug,
they talked about it, Jack. They talked about it, Jack.
Wait, that Twitter Spaces thing, or?
No, they talked about the reason it got buffed is because they said that the bug was creating the damage, right? So they wanted, when they fixed the bug, they're like, well, Tracer's going to be weak now that the bug doesn't exist. We're going to buff her damage back up to 6 to make her strong.
Which bug? Dude, the amount of Tracer bugs, do you remember the beta?
Yeah, but it was the 20-foot range one that Dante talked about. The one where it's like when you were at 20 feet, 20 meters, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It was like you were doing like ridiculous damage at that range for where you are. But they put her back to 6, but her numbers, I think it needs to go back to 5.5, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
6 is a little ridiculous, and I think when it's not, obviously she's very, very strong right now, but I think she will be ridiculous when you take out the one-shots. When I played Tracer in this patch, I am just doing so much damage. The only thing that kills me is one-shots.
When the custom tracer is out of control, you need to look at the hero.
That's what I'm saying. Like when the custom tracer is out of control, that's when you know it's a problem.
It's dude, the bugs that Tracer's had recent, like for a hero that really has not been changed for like ever since like the launch of Overwatch, like back in whenever it was, you know, like Jesus Christ, over the transition to Overwatch 2. There must have been something weird underlying like bugs that would just pop in their heads up, because we had the range thing. We had the bug in the beta where she was doing also an absurd amount of damage. It was like if she was doing more, well, like it was a bug because she was supposed to do less, and then they were like, oh, instead of just nerfing her completely, we're just going to put it in the middle where the bug was and where it's supposed to be. And then now with the extra range, like what is happening with Tracer, bro? Like for a hero that's not been touched, it's crazy. Like how many problems we're having with her. I
gotta say, I you know, having gone on this trip and then coming home, I am
code and stuff like that. Spaghetti, you know, like some shit happens. You know what I mean? Like
no, it's wacky as heck.
Yeah, it's just really funny.
It's unreal.
To me. Like it's not a bad thing. You know, it's not like destroying the game or anything like that. It's just very funny to me how many bugs she's had, and it's like, okay, why? Like, what's going on here?
I feel like literally the guy with the pizza walking into a burning room gif, where I'm like, I went on this trip for 3 weeks, like, all right, playoff patch, you know, like Zarya was really strong, you know, we saw some diva, but everything seemed fine, and then like Kiriko came in and like Roadhog's absolutely fucking nuts, and like Tracer's bonkers, and the meta is just absolutely broken. It felt like it was reasonable not that long ago. What happened?
Yeah.
It's
I can tell you what happened.
Okay.
Every time so far this year, and maybe even past years, but let's just focus on this one because the last time we got a hero outside of Overwatch 2 felt so long ago. Every time there's been a new hero, it's fucking destroyed the game somehow. Think about it. Beta 1 before Junker Queen. Okay,
well, I don't even think it's those heroes other than Sojourn which are doing that.
No, hang on. Think about this. Junker Queen, as soon as she comes out, we get a major Junker Queen meta.
True.
With the previous meta is just gone. And the
Can you imagine if the game was out on that meta? Holy shit.
Oh my god.
But the funny thing is, would you guys agree with me that Mid-Season Madness tournament had the best meta we've seen probably in a very long time? Maybe even
it was perfect. It was a great tournament. Yeah.
It was the best meta because everything was viable. You could play like 3 or 4 different tanks, bunch of different compositions, you know, super high diverse strategies, and then Junker Queen comes out.
And they were kind of quick after Sojourn was like tested on in the beta to like nerf Sojourn to like make her good, like pretty early on, which led to Mid-Season Madness and also Kick-Off Clash being like pretty reasonable metas in that regard. I mean, Reaper Zarya was a bit strong at the start of the year, but they were pretty quick in changing it to leave us in a pretty good spot. But then Junker Queen went on for a stage, and now Kiriko has like gone on for some time and like
then Kiriko came out. So here's the thing: is that I think the patch we had just before Kiriko came out was really good because, okay, was it a lot of Zarya and a lot of Diva and stuff like that? But that's okay because those are fundamentally quite different comps. Diva was a double flex support plus Diva kind of situation. Zarya was more like a rush type situation. I can't remember when someone was getting played at all. I think maybe a little bit, but not that much. So you still had like a 2.5 tank rotation there. And it was reasonably diverse. I remember watching games back then and thinking, this is fine. Like, this is like a pretty playable meta, pretty good meta. And then we get to the actual Overwatch League playoffs meta. It's like, oh, we just play one comp now. It's like, okay, that's a bit lame. This is what. So every time a new hero gets introduced, it just kind of fucks up the game in like a way where it's like, well, previously it was just fine. Like, it was good.
Yeah. So yeah, let's transition actually to Ramattra then, because you brought this up, Gus, so you don't think it's going to change too much. Here's what I think. I'm actually really curious to see if the developers at some point kind of like panic patch the game of some kind, because I'm gonna be real, I've followed this scene for a long time. I haven't seen the scene freak out about the meta in like a long time. I like how bad it is and like how much they're hating it, and like they want to get rid of Roadhog and like all these drastic changes. So I'm curious to see what they'll actually do. I do think they should like release some kind of like emergency patch or whatever this coming Tuesday, because they usually patch on Tuesdays, right? But yeah, I don't think they will, because they probably think that Ramattra is going to affect competitive play in such a way that, don't worry, guys, it'll change it up a little bit, because otherwise we're gonna wait until the mid-season of season 2, right, which is start of January or something like that, and like we're gonna wait 2-3 more weeks for some kind of balance patch, which last time was delayed, by the way. So yeah. There's not a lot of hopium going on around here, because why don't you kick us off, Costa? Why don't you think Ramattra will change up the pace of the meta?
Well, I think that's like, you sort of hit it there. There's not a lot of hopium here because it's like no one believes that they're going to do it. So I think people are just kind of frustrated, and Ramattra isn't going to, like, if you've played with Ramattra, he's an interesting hero. I think his design is sick. Like, I think he's really cool. But I think he's just going to straight lose to Doomfist and Roadhog. So I don't think he's going to be played. Like, Ramattra only has like a 16-second shield that stops him from getting hooked. And once he gets hooked, he does not have enough survivability. Even in Nemesis form, like what's going to happen is he's going to get hooked. He's going to go to Nemesis form, get his 200 armor, then just hold his arms, right? And it's like, at that point, you're not helping. You're just trying to not die. Obviously, his ult is quite strong if he can live, if he can get nano and all that kind of stuff. But we've all seen the clips so far of like, one of the things that you use the ultimate is you ultimate. The other Ramattra usually ultimates as well, and then you both just sit there with your arms up, trying to not take any damage, and but your ult runs forever and stuff like that. So it's like, I just don't think Ramatra's. I think he's a great kit. I don't think he fits in the game right now because it goes back into. I think Roadhog and Doomfist are just ridiculously overpowered.
I don't even think he is a good kit. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think
you don't think his kit is interesting.
Okay, wait, separate it.
Interesting and good, not the same thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Do you think it's competitive good, as in like strong, or do you think it's a good kit for a new hero and interesting from like a gameplay perspective?
Interesting from a gameplay perspective. I do not think it's good right now. I think he needs a little bit of work to make him better, but he needs some form of mobility. I think is his biggest issue right now. Like he just doesn't go anywhere. He just stands around.
I would say no, like on the mobility thing, like. But
like even just like a short dash, like a Cassidy roll, would go a long way for him.
roll.
Like, I don't want to get into
in Nemesis form, you just see a fucking somersaulting Ramattra.
He's gonna look like a Bakugan, bro. Like he just like curls up into a ball and starts running.
Dude, he's a cyborg. Just like patch him like a Tesla car or something. Just add it in somersault. Or...
I will say I disagree with that take just because I don't want to get into a point where we are relying on every character having some form of mobility.
Too late. Too late, Jack. We're in too deep.
No,
everyone has mobility. Like as a tank, you're as I said, he's a tempo tank that has no tempo. He has one tempo, and that's walk at you very menacingly.
That's what Roadhog does.
Yeah, but he has an enormous.
It's a horrible hero.
Yeah, dude. Let's not talk about Roadhog. No more. We mentioned Satan's name in here, Roadhog. Yeah.
There's a lot more to talk about there.
Either there, like you give him a dash or whatever the fuck, right? Or you have him like Sigma, where he can like stun. Accretion, is pretty good. Sigma has no mobility apart from his ultimate, but like he has defensive tools. Maybe something for Ramattra where he can like push people back. Just something to like get people away from him. I would rather that than a mobility move, like a Bakugan roll or like something like that. Like, although in Nemesis form you do have a timer, so maybe that would kind of line up. If you did hit Nemesis form, you could do a small dash. I'm not sure, but
like as I said, I don't think he needs it in his ranged form, but it's like his entire Nemesis form is about being close to you, right, and getting in your face. There, all those characters that you talked about, they have something that solves that problem, right? Like Sigma doesn't have mobility, but he doesn't want to be there. He wants to stay in the mid range. Same thing with Roadhog, doesn't have mobility, but his thing is he pulls people close to him, right? A push or a pull. As you said, maybe he needs a pull of something to get people and stay within his range, because his ultimate as well, unless you have another tank to just follow around, your ultimate actually kind of disappears. You either kill everyone or they run away from you pretty quickly.
I was I was like, oh my god, this ult might be so fucking like either busted or like just so boring to play against. And because I was wondering how long it actually lasted. 3 seconds, by the way, for the viewers that haven't played Ramattra. You can play him, by the way, if you've not unlocked him in training range. I found that out the other day. I thought it was pretty sick. So if you don't have a battle pass, you haven't unlocked him, whatever, you can play him in training range so you can find out about his kit. But also props to Blizzard for doing that. I don't think any other game does that. It's pretty sick. But only 3 seconds is kind of nutty short. Like, oh my god, you not accidentally pop it, but you popped that at the wrong time. GG, that's your ult. It
just goes away. Yeah,
you need to have a Lucio with Ramattra, and I don't think that's a bad thing at all. But yeah, Scott, I'm kind of in the same vein as you, where it's like, he kind of needs something to help him at least stick to people. But
did you know that you can accidentally cancel his ult?
Yeah.
How can you accidentally cancel it?
If you try and go into Nemesis form while in the ultimate Nemesis form, you just go out of Nemesis form.
Oh, really?
Your ult's just gone. You just lose your ult straight up.
Well, that blows.
I think he does. The more I've thought about it from both of your perspectives, the more I think like obviously no, not in his wizard mode. Huh. So like
wizard mode. That's a good.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. I like wizard mode. I'm down.
Wizard mode.
Wizard mode. But in his Nemesis form, I think like just a very short dash is fine. Like that wouldn't be really insane. That wouldn't be like, oh, I got another tank with mobility. It's just a very short dash to help him a little bit to gap close. You could even give him like a 5-6 second cooldown on that.
Yeah,
like 1/3 of a Sojourn slide. Do you know what I'm saying? Like 1/3 of that, it would even be okay.
As I said, obviously the reason I said roll is not for the like him actually rolling. It's the distance, right? Like he's not closing that much distance with the roll, but that little bit of extra gives you enough sometimes to be able to like use it effectively without feeling like you're getting run down.
The other thing is, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but his punches are not super long range, so they're like they're deceptive because you feel like, oh, this is gonna hit, but then it's just kind of just out of range sometimes. And
I think that's fine though. Fits with the character. And he's supposed to go through shields, right? So like you're in a situation where like he's potentially in a lot of the trailers is like you used to get to Reinhardt and he's like punching through the shield and shit like that. I think that's kind of cool. I don't think you need too much range on the punch.
You have to remember, it's like that's fine. Okay, we can talk about that, but then the other thing is his punch actually doesn't do that much damage because you have to land a lot of those punches to actually get it. What is it? 50 damage? Is it 50 or 60 or what?
With each punch?
Yeah, one punch is like 50 damage.
I want to say 60, but I'm not 100% sure.
Anyway,
if I'm right on that.
you have to hit a lot of punches then to actually get a kill, right? So it's not even that threatening. Like he's not that threatening. So also the block is a lot of people describe it as like a bad power block from Doomfist, and I feel like it shouldn't be infinite. Like I wouldn't be upset if they improved his block but added a cooldown. Something
make it defense matrix. Honestly, just make it defense matrix at that point.
Like
give it a resource.
Give it a resource bar, not eat everything. Just like give it a resource bar.
I think it's more skilled if it's like something like a power block that has a cooldown, that has a resource that you have to manage, but it's a little stronger. So it's not just it's a 50% damage reduction, right? So I think it probably needs a little bit more help than that. But obviously, if it gets that level of help, it can't be infinite. So.
Also, can we talk about how shit his slow is? Like, it does like no damage. Like, and it doesn't even slow that much. Like,
the vortex thing?
Yeah, the vortex thing. It doesn't pull people from very high, so it doesn't actually really do the thing it needs to do. It doesn't do much damage, and the slow is pretty negligible. So it's like I feel like it's not offering enough for his kit right now. Than what really should exist.
They showed it off in the trailer, like you could throw it like in the air and fucking catch Fire Mercy.
Yeah,
like, bro, that shit does not fly far. This guy is getting not even bronze at the shot put at the Olympics. Like, there is no way you're getting a Fire Mercy out of the sky if the Fire Mercy have like 3 brain cells because they're playing in Skybox. You know what I mean? It's really strange. I don't think
it's not high enough. The height of the thing doesn't reach high enough.
I don't think it should be a grenade. I think it should just be like a skill shot. Like it just kind of goes
like an ammo sleep projectile length. Yeah. Like
maybe a little bit. Maybe it like explode, like if it comes near into contact, like quite a large hitbox in the air and it does hit a Fire Mercy, like a generous hitbox rather than the sleep, because it's not like an immobilizing ability in terms of like stun, like I guess a stun.
There's 2 ways that I think it could be. One is like it could literally target like Sigma's gravitic flux, where you just target a thing on the ground, it just does it.
Yeah.
Or another way that I thought was really cool, a better idea than even that, is to throw it like a grenade that you can activate in the middle of the air to then get the suck.
I'm down. That's a good idea.
So what you then do is you literally throw it at the pharmacy.
You don't have to
connect. And then when it connects in the right like cylinder, whatever it is vertically, you choose when that happens. Then you activate it and the fucking pulls them to the ground. That's how it should be, right?
And that makes it a skill shot, right? In its own right, of like when you're kind of like that's kind of like Orisa suck, how Orisa suck used to be, right? So
and it should definitely follow the Fire Mercy down. You know what I mean? Like if it connects with them, they should definitely plummet it. But
because
that's
feel
like a sick idea, because that makes it way more skillful too. And like
I agree.
Because a lot of the time when I think about balance and stuff, I'm thinking it from like a caster's perspective or like a viewer's perspective too, where it's like skill shots are cool as fuck. You know, like hitting a sleep on a Genji, cool as hell. So like actually having a projectile like that you can throw a Fire Mercy and like it hits, it would be like, whoa, no way. Like that's a cool moment that happened like on camera in Overwatch League or whatever, So rather than it being right now where it's just like, just kind of like,
So let me ask you this, okay? We're teleporting, all right? We're teleporting into a fictional world where all of a sudden Ramattra is like meta. Releasing to ranked, everyone just has to play Ramattra. Do you think his kit is like obnoxious for like an overpowered hero? Or do you feel like it's actually quite a good hero to have to be meta. Like, it's actually quite enjoyable. If worst case scenario, it was like 100% pick rate Ramattra, it'd actually be quite entertaining because like the skill set is that good, or like the ability kit is good.
I think he'd be entertaining. I don't think he's annoying. I don't think he's that annoying to play against. As I said, obviously we're at the first week and we've only really played him around. Like, I haven't played him in like an actual competitive environment, but I don't think he's like, he doesn't feel like he's oppressive or he's ridiculous or if he's in your face, like as a support player, if he's punching you in the face, you fucked up somewhere along the line, right? Like, you shouldn't have been there. And his main kit isn't like crazy or anything like that. I think the idea of the shield is really cool, of like, it's a really big shield, but it's on a long cooldown. So it has high effectiveness for a very short duration on a long cooldown. It's static. Yeah, and it's very static. So it's like, and it's it works like BAP shield, so you have to like place it somewhere. So I actually like Ramattra's kit, as I said earlier.
He's kind of like older Orisa. That's why when you brought up Orisa, it was like, yeah, well, he does have a lot of similarities to Orisa. He's a lot like new Orisa as well, where like his Nemesis form kind of just does want to rush you down in some ways, but he has also got this kind of real poke nature. So he is a bit of a parallel to Orisa in many ways. But his wizard mode kit is like literally Overwatch 1 Orisa in a way. You pop down a shield, long range damage, and you have a thing that's kind of like a pseudo halt. I mean, you can see the parallels right there. It's very clear. And actually, one thing that I've heard is one of the ways you actually play Ramattra is you don't play him with a Lucio. You don't play him in this rushdown style. You play him like almost like a Sigma old Orisa style, where we're just kind of spamming from long range, because he's a very spammy hero. So I believe his left click range, I don't even know what the fall off is, but it's like pretty good long range from what I can gather.
It is very good
fall off.
I don't think it has fall off. I don't think
it has fall off,
which means it's insane long range. So what ends up being is like you play him as a super long range comp, maybe even defensively, and then you let the other team come towards you. When that happens and the Ramattra's in trouble, then you go Nemesis, then you can start protecting yourself. But you're not even going Nemesis to move forward to be like a shitty Ryan, because you don't want to be a shitty Ryan. You'd rather be like a pseudo Sigma, pseudo Orisa, but you don't want to be a shitty Ryan. So they're playing him like very defensively is what it actually is. So no one's playing him like that tempo style that was advertised. I mean, what the hell tank name thing was that? I know that was from Blizzard, but like that's not how he's actually being played. He's being played the opposite.
All right, I got two more.
People freaked out about that way too much, by the way.
Yeah, it literally. Yeah, I'm with Jack. It literally doesn't matter. Like, dude, what they call it.
I was losing my fucking mind. Like, people that were annoyed about a tank being called like a tempo tank. I'm like, who gives a shit? Like, the devs want to call it that because that's the way they maybe feel like it's going to be played, like a temp. Oh, we want to make like a tank that's like based on tempo. Will he be played like that? Maybe, maybe not. Dude, it's a name that someone gave it to him. Like, does that change the way he's played or like perceived in the game? Fuck no. Like, it's just a name that the devs were like, okay, maybe this is kind of how we want him to play. It's like a tempo style. And it's like, okay, cool. Is that another class for the game? No. Like, what the fuck? Dude, I was like, are we really hung up on like tempo as a word being used?
It is interesting that they designed him with the philosophy in mind of this whole tempo thing, but I don't think that's the way he actually gets played, nor does his kit allow him to do that.
That's like completely fine.
Are you saying you're baffled by the fact that they got it wrong?
What I'm saying is, like, I don't know that I'm baffled, but I'm like, they clearly have on some level gotten it wrong, because the hero that the way they thought he would be played, he's not going to get played like that because his kit doesn't allow him to. His Nemesis mode is just too shit for him to actually play like that.
People thinking like Mercy was going to be like Scott was describing earlier, like dashing around, like really short cooldown GA, like he in the front line, he in the back line, in the front.
Yeah, but the developers
stands behind a wall and uses the blue beam. Like they are a hero in general, and like this goes for like any game as well, like League, Apex, like those characters in the game, when they are designed, yeah, the devs have like an idea of like, oh, we kind of want a tank that does this. And like clearly in Ramattra's case, it was like, okay, so we want a tempo tank. So maybe you pair him with the Lucio. You really want to like fucking speed in with Nemesis form and start beating down shields and like hitting ultimate and just staying on top of people. Like that is tempo. And when it gets into good players' hands, pro players and like, you know, top level ladder players' hands, like those things will either shift completely that way, or it will shift to a completely other direction.
My point is,
I think that's fine. I think people
my point is there's some level of,
hang on a second,
I don't care about the name. The name is one thing. It's just an indication of their design philosophy, which I think has failed a little bit. I think they missed the mark on the design philosophy is what I'm saying.
I don't think,
but I don't think they missed it by that much. Like I understand. I agree that like it isn't a tempo tank. What does tempo tank even mean? Like how is that being like applied in that way, right? Of like, how are they using tempo tank versus the way that other people use tempo tank? It sounds like the developers are using tempo tank under the idea of like, you can play from range and then you can change the tempo and then all of a sudden you're a melee barrage running into them. That seems to be like the basic philosophy. I understand where people in the community and Avril are coming from of like, it shows a pretty poor understanding of what they believe tempo is to what, you know, the best players think tempo means and stuff like that. So that's why I think people aren't frustrated that they got it wrong. I think people are frustrated that they thought that's what tempo is. So it shows like a lack of understanding in a way, but it doesn't matter. Like in my opinion, I don't think it really matters. Like, is it really worth freaking out on Twitter? Is it like you can bash them for it here and there, but like some people are like having a meltdown over like it being called a tempo tank. Like who, like, is that really the biggest thing with that with that choice? Like you should be able to see from their perspective. And I think it just goes back into line with, I think people, especially content creators and big people and Overwatch League players, you are not doing yourself, the game, or anything to do with the developers any favors by just freaking out about things on Twitter, publicly. I'm just as frustrated as you. You've listened to me this podcast, talking about Roadhog, talking about Doomfist, talking about all this shit. I'm with you. But freaking out on Twitter, as much as it might give you some clout, isn't helping anything. And there is great... Well, everyone who is doing that...
Okay, that was not okay. Look, we're personalities. We're content creators. At the end of the day, getting the engagement is sort of like... It should never be the goal, but it's part of playing the game. And so, like, speaking the mind of the community at times and, like, trying to amplify those voices.
Your personality is literally sometimes some people taking information that you think is false or creating public outrage for clicks and interactions and clout. I don't agree with that mentality because that is literally everything wrong with the internet right now. Is that
it's a fucked up world, Costa.
Yeah, I know.
That's how it works.
But we don't have to play into that. If you want to be that person, you do you. But that is everything that is wrong with the internet. Of like, all people are doing right now is complaining and shitting on things endlessly. And yeah, ooh, my numbers are big. Yeah, congratulations. It doesn't help anyone, and you're actively hurting the game that you love. Do you think Overwatch is benefiting from all of these content creators complaining about the monetization system, complaining about all this kind of stuff, that kind of stuff? It's just going to hurt us in the long run. And
yeah, I mean, sure. But I also think that there's a pretty passionate crowd out there who goes like, Overwatch 2 was released and the game so far has not lived up to expectations. And it's kind of like the winds are going out of sales. Like after this, there's no like instigator. There's nothing to like revitalize the game. This was it, and now like people hate what's going on with the shop. People really dislike this meta, and like, come on, like we need, like, what's going on? And so they're shouting out there, trying to get some kind of attention, or like trying to change it somehow.
And that, like, as I said, I'm on here shitting on the game along with everyone, but it's useful to have meaningful discussion and talk about why things are wrong instead of just fucking yelling into the void and tweeting a negative thing about the game in all caps once every fucking 2 days and that kind of stuff. If you genuinely believe that and feel that down to your core, like, so something has to change, because you're like, the game is never going to change in the direction that you want. And like, as I said, people are going to disagree with me. Some people are just like, no, I'd rather just yell into the void. And I think being negative is useful because then the developers will have to do something about it and stuff like that. But it hasn't worked for us for the last 8 years. We have a lot of these people have actual ways of getting in contact with the developers and giving meaningful feedback. Like, that is what I think is important.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate because one, you know that I'm not the kind of guy that does that, and two, there's fucking nothing more annoying than some of these fucking kids being privileged and just shouting into the void with caps lock. Dude, I'm fucking Arya here, Stark, running a fucking list of names that I'm just like muttering to myself.
It is Jesus Christ. Fundamental problem with like Twitter though, in the way that you only get X amount of characters, and people have, dude, not many people are creating threads. Well, I guess a few are actually. I don't want to say everybody, but like in general, a podcast format like this or like a video format that you can put out is a way better way of like explaining how you're thinking, the way you're feeling, and just kind of laying everything out on the table. Also, to comment on what you said earlier, Scott, as well, you only briefly mentioned it, but people knowing information yet tweeting the other thing also is like, dude,
I mean, that is just fucking mental.
X is true, but you're saying, I think maybe Y is true on Twitter. It's like, holy mother of God. Like, that behavior in general.
There are people who are doing that kind of stuff. There are also people who are complaining about things and posing questions when they actually know what the why is.
They know the answer, yes.
And they know what the answer to the question is and stuff like that.
I'm gonna get DM some examples of this.
There are privileged people who like fearmonger over the state of the game and upcoming stuff, like when they've actually had like hands-on.
I would say that kind of behavior is worse. Because I would say because you are literally like, that is just like, okay, I want likes. Maybe I will play into the outrage or whatever, but yet you know that is not true. And like, sure, maybe you do need to get the clicks and shit like that, because yes, along with us in a way, I'd say we're not like full-time content creators or anything. Obviously, I think Scott's probably the closest to that than most of us here. But like, you do need to like continue to be present in the community and like, you know, reason and just say different things and get, you know, interactions and just like that. That's a part of the game. I completely understand that. And I completely understand your take, Johnny, as well. But like, when you're deliberately doing the opposite of what you actually know that is not public, it's like, okay, do you really need to chime in on this issue? Probably not. Like, yeah, you want the fucking likes and shit like that, but like, come on, like that kind of behavior is
okay, so just removing that from the equation, okay? So we've noted that down, you know, misinformation and like, you know, being in a privileged position and still, you know, like kind of like hating in the game or like not communicating to developers when you can do so. Removing that from the equation, I still think that like there's, I guess validity might be the wrong word, but like given the state of things and like how upset people are, like I don't blame people for actually, you know, quote unquote shouting into the void how upset they are with the state of the game. Because like, I mean, the fact that we're still going on about this fucking shop, dude, and we haven't talked about the battle pass so far. There are still people who are just like, this battle pass is terrible, you know, compared to some other games. You can't gain any currency whatsoever. If you invest in the battle pass, like there's no way for you to get the next battle pass without you know, you can't regain to sort of buy the new battle pass. And on this podcast, like half a year ago, one of the things we requested was we want to be able to earn like the next battle pass through the current one. And that's also how you get people who come back to the game. It's like, oh, I need to complete this battle pass so I can buy the next battle pass. And that's how you get like a consistent player base that keeps playing battle pass after battle pass after battle pass, because they keep want to get all this kind of content, right? They're on a streak, they're on a battle pass streak. But instead, we don't have that. The prices are absurd. They moved down the hero a little bit when it comes to like level to acquire Ramattra in this case. But like, and now the meta is terrible as well to a lot of people. So like, there's still some kind of like, I feel like it's sort of warranted to kind of like be upset publicly in that regard. I don't think like podcasts are going to like be the big change in that regard. At some point, like you're trying to send a message that like, hey, this is not okay. Like we're trying to change things.
I think it's the formatting of what I'm saying, Johnny. Because like, as I said, I literally tweeted out negativity onto the internet recently with like a Roadhog tweet or something like that, and talking about how shit it is. Like, I'm not saying, I hate Roadhog, and then like all that kind of stuff. It's about like, it's about you doing a lot of things in a meaningful way and not just being hurtful to the game. Like I agree, like even removing the idea of putting currency into the battle pass, if they just made it that if you finished every single weekly challenge for the 9 weeks, you should be able to get enough currency to buy the next battle pass. Right now, it takes 2 cycles to get that. You takes the 18 weeks to buy one for free. If you are finishing every weekly, like getting all those weekly challenges done every week for 9 weeks, you deserve the battle pass, because the whole thing is like, it's about incentivizing people to play the game, right? Like and getting people to play the game and give them a reward for playing the game, right? That's how battle pass should work. They are definitely being over greedy with like some of the ways that they're not promoting the battle pass, and I think that they should fix that. I'm curious to see if the prices of the shop is going to change, and that they might have data that proves that like, hey, if we did a lower price point, people can buy. But like, we can be mad about it all we want, and maybe it's bad for us, but like, I feel like as devil's advocate to your point, Activision Blizzard has people that are a lot more informed and experienced, and it is literally their jobs to set these price points of like, it is probably the most profitable for them to do this. And
okay,
it's not
so I agree with you. I agree with you, and I will always like cede my opinion to someone who literally does this for a living. At the same time, though, like at some point you're like making revenue with these kind of like tactics, these battle pass tactics, via bad PR. Like bad PR for the battle pass in the game is a consequence of the shop prices and the money you're making. So you gotta meet 50-50. You can't just be like, oh, this is the most effective way to make money, because it results in bad PR. That's bad for the game. So you gotta meet halfway, I feel like.
Yeah, but like it just goes back into things that we said like 6 months ago. Is like, we talk about all of this stuff of like, why are they doing this? And the frustration that I have with a lot of this is people are flaming like Overwatch. Obviously, we had Overwatch 1, things were different, and now they're Overwatch 2. Valorant also doesn't give you currency within the battle pass. Valorant is also just as expensive. Valorant skins are also more expensive almost across the board. And I'm not defending the system. I'm just saying this is just like how it is. And I get frustrated at, I guess, the fact that people are like, it is almost a public meme right now of like how Overwatch 2 is just so poorly monetized, when it is like so many other games are doing the exact same thing. Yes, there are little tweaks here and there across the board from game to game to game to game. But like, I just get frustrated. I'm so sick of talking about the Overwatch 2 monetization system, because it's like, yes, it sucks for us, the players. And I get that. But this is just kind of how it has been, not just for Overwatch, but so many other games for such a long time. You
also can't even, at a PR level, please people, because on some level there's I don't know how large the group is, but there's enough vocal people that like, there's no way of fixing the battle pass or improving the prices to make it better for them unless you delete the entire battle pass, or maybe just deleting the entire game and go back to Overwatch 1, because they just want to play Overwatch 1. They want loot boxes back. They want Overwatch 1 back. They want 6v6
which is
back.
insane, by the
way.
They
don't want
which
anything
is insane.
To do with
how do you
2.
want loot boxes back?
Because they are that loot box pilled.
And also because loot boxes were easier to farm as well.
Well, you just got everything for free. That's at the end of the day. Because
let's think, people want everything for free.
Yeah, but I actually had this crazy conversation. I went to war with the Splatoon 3 community.
Oh, what the fuck you starting with them for?
At the Game Awards.
The Game Awards.
At the Game Awards.
I'll back you, Scott. I'll go into battle with you.
Splatoon 3 won the multiplayer game of the year. So I have nothing wrong with Splatoon 3. Let me just preface this. Like, I've heard it's fun. It probably is fun and that kind of stuff. But it's funny that Overwatch lost to Splatoon 3. So I tweeted it out. Like 6,000 likes, but like 600 comments of everyone and every Timmy on with his mom's credit card talking about how Splatoon 3 is a better game. And then you know what the funniest thing I realized? I was like, how much is Splatoon?
I love
Splatoon 3 is a $60 box game that
this is what you get.
For a third
Splatoon is sick. Do not knock Splatoon.
No, I'm not knocking Splatoon. I've heard it's a fun game. But my point is, like, if Overwatch tried to release at $60, people would have been mad. If Overwatch did a million different things, people would be mad. If Overwatch did anything, people are going to be mad. And that's sort of my point, is that you can't please people because people have unreasonable expectations, and people also want very different things. As you said, some people just want to go back to loot boxes. I couldn't think of anything worse than loot boxes. So you're never going to come to an agreement. So it's like, why would you design your like revenue philosophy around a community that you will never be able to please?
Yes. And like, that's, I think, is a little bit the problem with that as well, is that because we were in Overwatch 1 and because people got shit for free, like if Overwatch launched yesterday, or like when Overwatch 2 launched, if it was a brand new fucking game and it was like, this is the monetization and shit like that, people would be like, okay.
Yeah, but no one complained.
Also, one more thing.
Although I will say, go on, Scott, go first.
This is Splatoon 3. It looks exactly like I saw the Splatoon 1 fucking 10 years ago when the first one came out, yet I don't hear a single person complaining about how it's just the same game and it's just a big DLC and stuff like that, right?
No one complains about FIFA releasing the same fucking game every year for a AAA price.
Call of Duty just had, you know, a fantastic game release as well, you know, and that's still, I don't know, is it $60? Yeah. And, you know, people buy the shit out of that game.
And they got Battle Pass,
and
right?
It's the same kind of thing. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's interesting because, again, if you're listening to this podcast, please don't treat any of us like we're fucking experts in our field and like we know all the ins and outs and the science behind battle passes and price setting games and like all that stuff.
Yeah, we have no data, by the way.
Yeah, like we're just amateurs who are very enthusiastic about their game.
The thing is, we have eyeballs, and using the eyeballs, I can see there's no one fucking complaining about the Valorant battle pass, even though it's objectively worse.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
to defend, I would like to defend fast, if people don't mind. With the older skins, especially with the your rotating shop or whatever it is, I don't pay too much attention to that stuff because I have a lot of the old skins anyway. But with the rotating skins, they are too much money.
Oh yeah, and old skins should be way cheaper.
Old skins being the Reaper biker skin or whatever it was. He's like a biker man. He's got orange on him. It looks a pretty cool. Don't get me wrong. Should it be $19, $18, $19 or whatever it is? Fuck no. Should it be fucking $19? It should be like 10. Because obviously new people are going to come in and they're going to be like, oh, I've never seen the skin before because they didn't play Overwatch 1. Great, okay. $19. The best value skins currently in the game are the ones that are, weirdly enough, like the newer ones that are like not in the bundles. Some are in smaller bundles, like the Ramattra skin where he has like caution tape on him and stuff like that. That is like, looks really good, and that is not that expensive. But when I scroll down to the bottom shop, there's like a For You shop, and I see a $19 Fortnite card. No, I see a $19 fucking Reaper skin that has been in the game for a long time. That itself needs to change, along with
I have the solution.
The older like I have a solution too. Don't make it fucking $19. Make it $10. A lot of the older recolors too should also, like the base skin, like the base Overwatch 1 skin, base Overwatch 2 skin, the recolors for those, the very basic ones. I cannot see, because I have legacy credits in all my accounts, if they cost any money. I have no fucking clue. But if they should definitely be given with like achievements or playtime or like something like that. Even some of the old Epic skins, I think either should be significantly cheaper than like newer Epic skins, or they should be given as like, oh, you got like so much healing with Ana on this map. Get the visor one, the cool one, or like the Halloween one. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. Like that, I can't defend. There's absolutely no way. The battle pass not giving currency, it's difficult because a lot of other battle passes don't give currency. But then one of the only other games I play multiplayer, Apex, gives currency, and I'm like, oh, I can buy the next battle pass. Like that for me does actually keep me coming back to the game as like not one of my main games. And I do think at least either with a weekly or like within the battle pass, you should be earning close to, if not the full amount for the next one.
If you're playing enough.
If you're playing enough. If you complete the fucking battle pass, maybe get to tier 110 or fucking something, or like 100. I don't know. Then yes, absolutely. Currency, boom.
This is what I think needs to happen. This is a very, in my mind, a pretty simple fix as well. It's not just about reducing prices. There's that level, but there's nothing that legacy credits does right now. There's nothing really important that it does. What they need to do is I've tweeted about this as well, make legacy credits more like the blue essence from League of Legends, where you can buy meaningful stuff.
I'm lost, bro.
Well, Jack knows what I'm talking about. So anyway, make the free, the free currency, the old coins in Overwatch, make that useful for something. Like you can purchase. I think you should be able to purchase all old Overwatch 1 content, like any of the skins and all the other stuff, with legacy credits. Maybe make it cost 2,000 legacy credits instead of 1,000. I don't know. The point is, like, legacy credits should be like a free currency that can be pretty earnable in game. The game could just shell that out to you without too much effort. Weekly challenges, daily challenge, whatever, you can get legacy credits, right? And if you bank up enough, you can bank these up pretty easily compared to the premium credits. You should be able to use that to buy old skins and stuff. That way, like, pure free players feel like they're probably still getting something, and you're not paying $20 for an old Reaper skin. You can just buy that with your legacy coins when you get enough of them, and that shouldn't be too hard to earn. That's what I think.
But we all know why they don't do it, right? Like, because theoretically, it should exist, right? Like, it should be like that because they release that content under the idea that, like, that was, like, it was part of Overwatch 1 bundle. But now it's Overwatch 2. If you give these skins away for free, it's going to massively reduce the number of people who buy skins for Overwatch 2. So it's like...
That's what the new skins are for.
Yeah, but if everyone has a ton of skill, like think about it from our perspective, right? And here's where it is like, I think it is the right thing to do, but I can understand why they don't, because think about it from their perspective and the way that we play the game. I have so many skins that it's like, well, why would I buy a skin for this character unless I really, really, really like it, right?
But it doesn't change anything for you. For you, then it wouldn't change anything. For the Overwatch 1 players that do have a lot of skins, it doesn't change anything.
But there's so many people for Overwatch 2 that will buy those skins.
Yeah.
Or they won't buy other skins or new skins because they have access to free skins from that legacy thing. And that's just devil's advocate. I agree with you.
People feel like the game isn't rewarding enough in whatever way you want to like interpret that message. They don't feel like it's rewarding enough, and one way to reward people without necessarily just breaking the bank open is by making a free currency that actually means something. That's what I'm saying. Like, you could even make it expensive. Like old coins in Overwatch 1 cost 1,000 to get a legendary, right? You can make it cost 2,000 to get a legendary. That's fine. And you don't have to be giving like a shitload of legacy coins, but you're giving enough that every now and then you're able to actually pick up an old legendary for free. And you feel like you're making some, if you are a pure free-to-play player, you're making some progress, and the new cool shit still costs money. I think it's a fair balance.
I think it's the right thing to do. I agree with you and Jack that I think the legacy Overwatch 1 skins are being like marketed for way too much money. Like, I think you could almost do both. Need to reduce price. You could do both of your things where, as you said, it's hard to get, but you can get them through just like playing the game, and make them half price on the shop because they're old legacy skins, as Jack said, if you really want one.
Do a Dead by Daylight. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. Yeah, like, I know Scott is actually, but like the story in Dead by Daylight is quite interesting too, because there are some skins that you can buy with. Fuck, man, there's so many currencies, bro.
They have a lot of currency. That game's a mess. I wouldn't use that game as a reference.
No, well, there's like you know, tiers of skins: rare, epic, legendary. So in DBD, we'll just use this isn't exactly a 1-for-1, but like the legendary skins can only be bought with premium currency. The epic skins can be bought with premium currency or crafting material. Same with the rare skins, premium currency or crafting material. I would say that is more of that's like down the middle of what we're saying. Like, I'm just saying reduce prices, Avril's saying craft system. It is probably a better way of doing it, because that way it's like, okay, the old legendary skins, you can still get them. They're discounted compared to like brand new, fresh out the box skin. And the epic skins you can just buy with that crafting material that you just kind of earn in the game by playing. And that way you can still build towards like an epic skin, like an old, like Sharik Ana, for example, or like, I don't know, my favorite one on Zen's like the yellow color morph epic one. I like that one. You can earn that by just in the game, you know, like that's a good in between where like you're still gaining money if you're Activision Blizzard by people buying legendary skins of the old ones, but you're also just giving a little bit away for free. Plus, if people buy the epic skins for real money, obviously that's kind of a bonus too. But the whole like $19 for an old skin is just, bro, that hit different. Like, Jesus, put them $10, $10 fucking dollars. Like, and I think that would solve a lot of people's fucking problem with the shop right now. Like, jeez, man. I mean, 19 for a brand new, like the Junker Queen Executioner one. I still think that's a little bit too much, like $19 for that. But still, like, you're kind of expecting the newest skins to be more expensive anyway. That's just how shit works, you know, like newest stuff is always more expensive.
I also think we'll find out over time if they are overpriced, because they'll reduce the price. And we talked about this last time. It's like, you have to start high if you're the Overwatch shop, because you can't start low and then try and pump it up later. So
yes, that is true.
I don't know. Like, I'm so sick of talking about this kind of stuff. Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, the monetization system is shit, and it sucks, and it's Blizzard being greedy. But at the end of the day, it's just how the world works.
Every company's greedy, though. That's Johnny, the thing.
Wake up.
Okay, no, I've tried to do some fucking research, and I've just been fucking donor walled by the internet or something. I'm
like loading Fortnite, checking Fortnite Battle Pass, checking
I find it interesting that we have this fucking eternal, like, nightmarish PR thing going on with Overwatch, and it just feels like we're just stuck in a cycle
because
of
everybody
misery.
Fucking hates Overwatch, bro.
Okay,
like, we've been the punching bag.
Hey, you want me to wake up, and then you're talking over me. Jesus Christ.
Okay, I'm sorry, Johnny.
I'm sorry, Siri.
Please.
Oh, never mind. She's fast asleep.
Siri.
She's fast asleep. She's out. But no, I was looking up because I feel like, okay, so Costa, you're gonna like fucking, your head's gonna explode. But Like obviously, like they transitioned to free to play as well because like we wanted a player base, like we wanted people to actually play the game. You know, yeah, you know, obviously $60 or whatever, like. You know, most countries that I think are pretty well off and like, you know, are pretty rich in that regard, like are able to get away charging $60. But like, you know, for poorer countries around the world, and you know, for demographics that can't necessarily pay, you know, $60 for a game, like that is a lot of money to a lot of people around the world that can't afford to spend $60 on like a game to just get into it, right? And free to play opens the doors for all these people around the world to really to enjoy this IP, to enjoy these stories, these characters, these heroes. And like, I think that's a fantastic opportunity to get more players into the game. So I think we'll kind of like see down the line, like how the player base actually sort of like grows with Overwatch 2, and like if we're establishing some kind of, you know, new scenes, and there's new opportunity that free to play enables that $60 didn't, you know, do before for us in Overwatch 1. But I mean, I know that perpetually people just want to hate on Overwatch, but I really do feel like it's a genuine problem. Like if Overwatch as a game is meant to succeed in that people are to be proud of playing this game and enjoy the community and enjoy the story, like this is like a disease that we have to cure. Like we have to find a way for people to like enjoy Overwatch and like its existence in the world, because there are other games that like, yeah, their battle passes might be similar to ours. Yeah. They might even charge fucking more money than us, and like, but we have to do something for this game for it continuing to be successful, and for the continuing of us being able to, like, you know, have careers involved with Overwatch, because otherwise it's just the disease of hatred and negativity around the game is slowly just going to mean that players will be less likely to play the game moving forward. They won't be associated with the game moving forward, and they'll move to other games because they have more serotonin playing other games, and they're having a better time, you know, being associated with other games. And this problem, it just fucking grinds me to death every single fucking day, because I'm just like, how do we fix this? Like, how can we genuinely make the community and the fan base enjoy the game we're playing? Because this is not healthy. It's not good, and it's going to be one of the things that lead to, you know, I don't want to say downfall because that sounds so fucking brutal, but like the decline of, you know, player base around the game, and, you know, a decline in fans around the game if we just have this fucking PR nightmare of people being negative and getting engagement from negativity all the time that other games don't have to deal with. So regardless of what you want to say, it's like, oh, it's actually not that bad. It's like, it's actually a problem, and it worries me, and it really bothers me, and I don't know what to do to fix it. And so here we are. Anyway.
I think that there is no game that exists on the internet that people enjoy playing. Multiplayer game. Sorry.
Actually, no.
Come on.
I think this is a problem with the game, multiplayer gaming industry. Okay, never mind. Splatoon 3 is the only game in which it sounds like everyone is actually content playing it. But like, also, like, as I said, they have to buy a $60 game or something. They don't have a free-to-play game and that kind of stuff. Like, I'm more talking about like these free-to-play games. I hear League of Legends people complain about their game. I hear Valorant games complain about their game. Everyone is always going to complain, and there's never going to be any solution to the problem. Johnny, I actually disagree with your point. I think you bring up very valid points, but I think for Overwatch, the best thing they can do is just drown it out. Because I think the bigger issue is not the monetization and that kind of stuff, because people are playing the game. There's a ton of people that are like, Sab actually read a study. It was a poll on Reddit. It was Valorant competitive or something like that. And they said, they did a poll of how often do you comment or like tweet about the game? And it was like, on Reddit, it was like less than 1%. And like, that is it. It is such a vocal minority of people that are upset at the game. And I think if you try and cater to those people, as I said, you're never going to please them. If you fix one thing, they're going to complain about something else, that kind of stuff. The thing that I think they are really fucking up with this launch right now is not the monetization model, it's not all that kind of stuff. It is the balance of the game. And I think that is what is really hurting it, is that the game isn't fun to play right now. And I think if, like, the reason a lot of people didn't care when Overwatch 2 launched about the monetization model is because the game was fun when, like, it was first happening. As you said, those first few weeks, Avril said, like, the game was actually pretty good. There was, like, a lot of variety. You could do different things. But as time goes on, it's going to get worse and worse. And I think people are going to stop playing, and it's going to be hard to get those players back. Because that's what happened in Overwatch 1, right? Like, Brig came out, goats happened, all these kind of things. People left and then never came back.
Yeah, I think that is why some people are actually like putting out there, like they actually want the design philosophy to pivot a bit and be like, hey, we actually might need like some kind of like emergency patch to fix this, because you know, sometimes people aren't going to want to hang out for a month and playing a ranked experience they don't like. And like we see streamers already pivoting to other games because like it's like, well, I'll just wait until next season.
Of like that, like obviously we talk about like how much Kiriko Roadhog is being played in the majority player base in Gold.
Oh, you mean like with quick play and arcade and like all that stuff? Like dude, no one knows.
Be careful what you say, Scott, bro. Oh,
I don't know if those things are like as big of an issue. Like obviously at the high end, like this is what we do. We are the high end. It is incredibly frustrating, and all the streamers are talking about it. But half the time, I hear an average casual Andy. Well, it's not even average casual Andy. It's they're usually just echoing what their favorite streamer said and stuff like that. Right?
Hey man, careful. We have no idea what's going on in Gold. Remember when we talked about Sojourn?
Yeah,
you know,
I'm saying we want to be careful. There's going to be comments.
That's what I'm saying is like I've talked to a lot of casual people who said they like enjoy playing Overwatch, and that's why like you know like how many celebrities come out and say, oh, I love playing Overwatch all the fucking time these days and like that kind of stuff. Like there's a lot of people that just don't interact on Reddit or Twitter or on all the things of people we're talking about are complaining, who exist that are just enjoying the game for what it is. And the number of people that are playing this game because it didn't have that $60 price tag on it. It didn't have a price tag. It's a free-to-play game. They're playing it. And, you know, after all is said and done, we're talking about the shop. We're saying this game's unplayable. It's a shop. That shit's cosmetics. I'm so sick of yelling about cosmetics about a game that's free to play.
Preach to the choir for me.
Yeah, like
I got yelled at, by the way. I got yelled at. I was like, bro, it's just cosmetics. Why are people like having such a, you know, crying so hard about
people
it?
fucking love their skins, all right?
People came at me so hard to be like, I can't believe you're saying the skins are content. Skins are different content.
I'm gonna say it.
Where were you 2 years ago?
I'm gonna fucking say it.
That's all we got.
I had to go on this fucking vacation and I couldn't finish up my battle pass and I shelled out fucking money to buy the Genji skin. I did, bro. I did, bro.
He said it.
Tragic.
I fucking love my skins. You think I'm gonna fucking miss out on my mythic Genji skin because I couldn't finish the battle pass? Hey, fuck yeah, dude. I'm
changed, dude.
Respect.
I'm changed, bro.
For doing what,
dude, we need to get fucking Sideshow back on the pod.
To be fair,
he's like looking at the defaults and everything.
I had mad COVID. Speaking of default fucking weapon skins, dude. That shit's so funny playing Valorant. Default skin, have a gun buddy. People get so fucking
That's what I do.
So,
yeah, same.
So funny. Vandal, Riot gun buddy. They're like, how the fuck? I'm like, bro, I'm just a beast at this game. To be fair, I grinded the fuck out of Overwatch, where a quick play when I had COVID. I didn't feel like streaming or anything like that, so I just grinded quick play because I was like, I've got to get.
You did a stream with COVID, weird chance.
It's the coolest. Okay, yeah, all right, Johnny. I was like, it's the coolest title, like 100%. I grinded the shit out of that before I went to the UK because I just had to have the title. But like, I'm not normally like a cosmetics Andy, but some of them I'm like, dude, some of the titles, because I love like cyberpunky kind of stuff. We obviously talked about like Cyberpunk 2077 earlier. So I was just like, I've got to have Bite Fixer because that shit is sick. If I can't get any other one, I want that one. So yeah, I grinded it. Although I'm not sure if I'd have shelled out money. If I was a couple of tiers away, maybe I would.
From Mythic Genji, yeah.
For Mythic Genji, yeah. If I was just not going to get it, yeah, I'd probably, it's pretty sick.
I mean, it's like the first Mythic skin. It's like I had to shell out the money for it, you know? Like
I feel it.
Not the title though. I mean, as I say that, and I got fucking Grand Marshal title because somehow that meant something to me.
Grand Marshal,
Grand Marshal Reinforced.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
When are we getting that title in the game? Come on now, get that into Overwatch.
They'll fucking.
Anyway, yeah, I don't know why I felt this passionately about this, but fuck. So here's what I think we're gonna do, just so you guys know as well on the pod. Like, we generally had some esports or Overwatch League topics written down. I actually think we'll save most of those and we'll do it like next week. It's the off season, all right? We got a fucking long while. We got nothing to do, and we'll save some of the news items and talk about it next week. Then we might have to record one for New Year's or something like that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, let's wrap up on some more Overwatch 2 stuff, and then we'll do a couple of esports topics because there's some tournaments going on. But yeah, I'm gonna ask one more thing. I don't know. Like, I'm actually worried, genuinely worried about Costas. Like, Patience at this point, because we're not going to talk about the monetization system anymore, Costa. I promise. We're moving on. But I did want to ask you, because you said that the big problem with the game currently was the meta, but there's also another system that like a lot of people have been talking about. And so I guess this is sort of like Overwatch 2 release review podcast, like 2 months in or whatever it is, almost 2 months, and we're like reviewing, like assessing where we're at. Actually, it's more, I don't know when the fuck the game was released. The rank system. A lot of people have tweeted and, you know, talked about the current rank system. 7 wins to rank up or 20 losses to get a new ranked. You can't see the rank of the people you're playing with. You can't even see your own rank when you're in the game. And a lot of people are just like, this is just flat out fucking bad. Is this another one of those things where it's like, if you're the 1%, yeah, you probably care? Or do you think this is just like, this was a step in the wrong direction for the game?
Yes.
What? Okay. Step in the right direction. Yeah.
No. I think the rank system is good. I think it's a better change. I think that it needs a lot of tweaking. I think it is the 1%, once again, complaining and yelling into the void. The people who play 30 games a day are like, man, this is not rewarding. It's like, they're not, the system isn't designed for you. The reason there's a 7-win system, the number of people who I've talked to who are casuals who said, I actually play ranked now because I lost that anxiety of the every win, every loss. I feel like it's not as impactful, right? Which is like the opposite mentality of what these other people want. These other people want to see their number go up and down every single game. They want to have that, like, that stress of the game, because that's what they find enjoyable as a competitive person. But that isn't a majority of the player base. There is a reason that quick play is so popular, is because it's just people don't want that stress when they play video games. So it's the 1% complaining about it. With that said, I think there are some valid concerns of it. I think you should always be able to have an option to show your rank in the bottom left. That's just a streamer thing, but here I am. Yes, I think it's also a serotonin thing. The wins should be 5 because I think 7 is too many wins. I think it needs to adjust at 5. I think when you are doing your promotion thing, there needs to be a different screen that shows now you're being promoted. And I think it should tell you how many times you've lost in that as well, so that you can use that of here's my wins, here's my losses. So when your rank changes, you have some form of context of that. Because the problem that happens right now, people are like, I got my 7 wins and then I ranked down. And that's because they probably didn't see, or they forgot that they lost like 15 games to get those 7 wins. And they don't understand that's why their rank is changing. That's the primary things of it. I think it's the biggest issue right now is, as you said, it's the people who are complaining that the system isn't built for, who just want to have the highest rank. I think there needs to be something changed in top 500. I think at top 500, you're in a completely different ball game. I think it could almost be like Apex Legends, where once you get to the highest rank, they actually show the number of points that you have, and you can see your number go up every single time, because almost everyone in top 500 would prefer that system.
Yeah, I mean, top 500 was pretty good in Overwatch 1, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it actually made for some competitive matchmaking as well, where, like, yeah, it was pretty low player base at that point, but, like, the end-of-season races to get ranks was real, and you could see, like, where you were on the leaderboard real time, and that would update. That was actually, you know, really fun to the 1% of those players, and the viewers as well, who's watching streamers. You know, streamers are marketing, so if they're having a fun experience chasing those leaderboards and they're good players, that is going to be positive marketing. It's like, hey, this is like an end of season event, right? So that's good for the game. Avril, you wanna?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you need a middle ground. So because I fully understand the philosophy of, like, well, you want to allow casual players to be able to play without the anxiety, but you also want to be able to cater to the competitive player base as well, where they want to see their ranking. I would even go as far as to say that, you know, maybe there should be an opt-in option where you can see what your rating is all the time if you want. And for the people that don't want to see that, like the casuals that don't want the anxiety, that can still be hidden. But at a baseline and a minimum, with what Scott said, like, it's got to go down from 7 to 5 for sure. Maybe the losses from, is it currently 15? What is it?
It's 20. For
20 down to like 10. 20 down to like 10, I think, 10 or 12. Like, because another issue is, like, I also don't think the game gives you enough feedback in terms of how much your rating is changing. Because I had a friend who was he's a CS guy who was getting into Overwatch a bit on release, and he was getting quite frustrated with the rank system, because, like, he would finish his quote unquote placements, do the 7 wins, whatever, and his rank would be exactly the same. And he's like, well, I don't know what I'm doing right or wrong here, because the game isn't giving me enough feedback to let me know what it is, you know, how far I'm progressing or not, because there's no way I'm getting to the end of, like, another rank reveal and it's just exactly the same. Like, I don't know what that means. Like, it's very convoluted in that kind of way. So the game is not telling you enough about what is actually happening in the game in terms of results, to give you information about what your gameplay is or anything like that. So something to meet in the middle is required here, because I like that the casuals don't have as much anxiety, but beyond that, I think the rank system is worse.
Yeah. 20 losses or like combined, or 20 games or whatever. That is insane amounts of gameplay. And another complaint I saw, to be honest with you, I found this very funny towards the end of the season, because I didn't play my main account, at least ranked, because I was in Korea and I COVID, so I didn't really want to play when I was sick. So I just ended up playing a lot of quick play. Was that when the end of season happened, it took into account your like hidden MMR to kind of sort out where you actually were, and then demote or promote you depending on that, and then give you rewards. So like people were say like camping a certain rank, and then they'd go down. And you're like, oh shit, I'm not like Diamond 5, I'm not Masters 5, I'm not, you know, whatever, Grandmaster fucking 2 or something. You know, you end up going to Grandmaster 4, or, you know, something like that. You know, I found that kind of funny. I did just as a small note, but like that is also kind of crazy. And it feeds into the fact that you can't really see where you're at all. And then randomly at the end of the season, I came back and I was like, I was actually messaging Planet. I was like, dude, am I gonna get fucking rolled? Like, am I gonna get fucked because I've not played for so long and decay is gonna set in? Because I was like Grandmaster 3 or something when I left, and I was like, oh, I'll be fine because I'm not gonna demote that much. Came back, I was Grandmaster 5. I was like, holy shit, if I left a couple more days sooner or stopped playing, I probably wouldn't have gotten those rewards. Which is, I found like a little bit frustrating. I can definitely see why people are frustrated about that, especially since you kind of made it to a rank and then you stopped playing because you wanted to camp it for end of season. What do you guys think about that? Because I'm not sure how I feel about it at all, because it hasn't really affected me to a point where I've gotten like kind of pissed about it.
I think rewards are rewards, right? Like if they're like, we're going to give this award to you, it should be whatever the rank was showing at the end. Regardless of what your hidden MMR is, it should always be the thing that they are showing you is what your rewards are.
I think they were worried about people camping the rank and like people getting.
If you made it to that rank, you made it to that rank. Like it's not camping. Like, you know, it's not camping if you made it there. If you got there and you shouldn't have been there, that's the system's fault that you got there and you shouldn't have been there, in my opinion. So I think camping ranks is a complete valid thing. I camped top 500. Like I came back with like 5 days left in the season or something like that. I hadn't played support in a hot minute. I was like ranked like 250 in top 500. And I was like, if I play, I'll probably be bad and there's a chance I fall out. So I'm just not going to play. And I played like tank and DPS. But I made that rank initially. So like you should get that. And I think that's how it should always be. That it was a weird system. I think in general, they need to communicate what is happening between seasons, because there was a lot of people who got really upset that they deranked without Blizzard really explaining very well the decaying of their accounts. And like,
yes, that was not explained at all.
That's another thing that I actually had an argument with someone in, well, not an argument, like a discussion in my channel of, they really dislike the idea that when they go to the next season, they will start at a lower point of what their MMR should be. They would prefer to stay at the same rank forever, all the time, and just continually like climb or fall of their own merit. But I argued that I completely disagree with that. I think I would always want to start each new season with everyone decayed, then everyone has to climb back up. Even if there is a hidden MMR that's trending you towards where you should be, it gives me something to play for every season of like, I want to get back. But there is like, some people genuinely don't like the idea that they have to climb back up after grinding to a certain point, even though I try and explain that like your hidden MMR hasn't changed.
They actually changed that. I remember in Overwatch 1, you went back to 3,900, even if you were like 4 point whatever the fuck.
You go to Masters 5 now, for context, by the way.
Oh, what is like
from what I heard, every top 500 player will start everyone above Masters that will 5. Start from Masters 5.
Yeah, which, I believe that was. To be fair, I think a lot of people get this confused too. If you de-rank to that point, you are not playing in Masters 5 games, because your hidden MMR is still placing you against top 500. Say you were like rank 100. You're not playing against fucking Master 5 Timmies. You're playing against the same motherfuckers that you've been playing against the whole motherfucking season. I think a few people get confused about that, or at least when I've had conversations about it in my Twitch chat, like that's kind of how that's gone down. Yeah, so it's like it's very much a visual thing rather than actually a like no, we're just forcing your MMR down to fucking Masters 5 and you have to climb all the way back up. And I guess in a sense, especially say you are like gold, for example, that's where you just kind of you're chilling in gold, like that's just where you are normally. I guess you won't really normally see the same people a lot. I mean, you probably will every now and then. You bump into the same kind of person if you remember their username. But in general, the player base is there's more people down there. It's more populated. So you're not seeing like the titles either, I suppose. So I guess there's a little bit of confusion there too. It's like, oh no, shit, I'm actually in fucking, I don't know, maybe it demoted you to Silver 5 or something. It's like, oh shit, I'm actually in Silver 5. What the fuck? When in reality, you're not. Like, it literally the visual rank. You're like, you are gonna if you're a Grandmaster player now in fucking Diamond, dude. You win 7 fucking games, you're going up 3 tiers. Yeah. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's literally just a visual thing. Yeah, it's not demoting your MMR at all, unless you actually just suck at the game.
All right, there we go. I feel like we did a pretty good job summing up where we're at currently with the state of Overwatch 2. You know, the 1% thing is real, but you know, we all genuinely love this game. So it seems like they're making a lot of changes based on data and stuff. So you just gotta trust them. You know,
we are the 1%, so it's like it's relevant to us as well, right? And if you're listening to this podcast, you're also probably close to that.
Yeah, 1%. you are definitely the 1%. Yeah.
God, I love being the 1%.
Yeah.
It's not always the good thing, Admiral. But yeah, I mean, when we don't have access to stuff like, oh, how many people are playing quick play, how many people are playing ranked, you know, what is the distribution of the skill tiers, like when we don't have access to that information, we don't have access to the meta information either, like what people are playing in lower tiers, how they're enjoying the game, how they're enjoying Overwatch and the Overwatch 2 experience besides fucking Reddit. It's hard to make assessments of like what is good, what is bad. So you kind of just at a baseline have to trust the developers that they have a pretty good way of balancing, have a good way of, you know, looking after the imaging of the brand and the state of the game and all that stuff. So we'll fucking see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen, you know. Maybe they'll make some changes. They lowered the levels for Ramattra to gain him, and maybe they'll make, which is a good sign because that means that they're actually like taking some kind of steps, right? And you know, hopefully season 3 is even better, and maybe they even do some season 2 changes, and hopefully they address the meta and all that stuff. But we'll see what happens. I guess you need some kind of faith to trust the developers. Anyway, before we close out the episode, there are actually quite a few tournaments going on, so it's gonna be fun highlighting them just before we depart. Avril, I'm gonna trust you on this one. Let's kick things off. We of course have the Pacific Showdown tournament, the Overwatch Contenders Pacific Showdown. So we got 3 teams from Chinese contenders here, and you know, who knows if this is gonna be the last time we'll see China contenders.
Chinese contending anything.
It might be.
We got 3 teams from Korea, of course. So 2 Blast is in there, Simprisa Gaming, some people from there's these lineups are actually sick. This in particular, we got this team. This is actually, I translated this when you guys were talking, and I was just donut-walling you. This is called Dutch Car. The team is called Dutch Car, and this is their logo. HLXC. So yeah, that's sick. But I mean, they got like Kaylee on here. They got Ligue as tank. So pretty fun lineup. Flagship creators. This is just like Overwatch China contenders people, you know, Night God. I believe you talked about Night God before, Avril.
Yeah, he's been floating around there for a while. He's a bit of a veteran.
Chinese contenders. Yeah, Kyo is on there, of course. And Solus Victoria, just like Molan Ron, Eileen, Crystal.
It's literally Valiant. It's Valiant and Eileen.
Like, fun players on here, you know?
It's Valiant.
Yeah. So
what's exciting is this is the return of international competition for contenders.
Yeah.
Only in Asia though, because I think the NAEU ping situation, land situation is still not very fluid at the moment. So the great thing about Asia is that you can technically play everyone on ping, and it's workable. It's fine. Australia has been scrimming Korea on ping for like 5-6 years, so it is what it is. And it's the semi-return of like Pacific contenders as well. When I say Pacific contenders, I'm talking about like the Southeast Asian teams. The Japan, Taiwan, Singapore, Thailand part of the world, so they have their own qualifier right now going on, team in.
And there's currently Japan and Thailand and SEA and stuff. So
yeah, by the time this episode comes out, the qualifier might already be over, but it's for us right now. It is currently active in terms of it's still being played through. And yeah, they're going to play this double elim tournament with all those teams that were mentioned in Ground Zero from Australia as well, and should be a lot of fun. Because the one thing that is also really unique about this tournament is that it's O2 Blast's first international tournament, I think, since like 2019. If I'm not mistaken, because they were at Pacific Showdown 2019. They did not qualify to Gauntlet for 2019. They did not qualify for Gauntlet in 2020. 2021, there were no internationals, and now finally we have one back. So for all of O2 Blast, their achievements, one thing they don't have is an international title. Element Mystic has one. They've actually got two, because Element Mystic won everything in 2019.
Tournament in 2021 with like Dire Wolves and...
Okay, so they have so third party, sure, but like in the contender system as well.
All right.
That's got to be asterisk I put on there. There's a little fun thing that I have. I've been calling it this since 2019. I don't know if Jack would remember, but there's essentially a sort of fun title I have in contenders, which is called the Contenders Grand Slam, and it's for the team that wins every single domestic title in contenders, and also every single international title in contenders that year, if there are any. So it does require there to be an international event on, and no team has ever won that title. No team has ever won the Contenders Grand Slam. Element Mystic have been close, but they lost Season 2 2019, I believe. Atlanta Academy as well lost one game somewhere along the lines. Team CC came close in 2020, but they lost one final at some point, and they didn't quite make it as well. Fusion University have not gotten it either, because they kind of... What happened? They didn't even qualify to Gauntlet for 2019, for whatever reason. So every other, like, British Hurricane have not been able to play in international. So for all their success, they did. They played in Atlantic Showdown, but they didn't get to go to Gauntlet either. It was a different European team at the time. So you see what I mean? Like every single top contenders team that have ever held a dynasty, none of them have ever won a Grand Slam where they won absolutely every domestic title and international title. It's never been done. And for the first time, O2 Blast might do it because they look like the best team in contenders of all of 2022.
I'm going to be a Debbie Downer, Avril. What is how difficult has this contenders year been for O2 Blast compared to...
Extremely easy.
Yeah.
Extremely.
Go get that Grand Slam, boys.
Did I hear they've dropped one map in the entire season or something like that?
In the last tournament season, correct. They only dropped one map.
I mean, that's
and not in the grand finals either. The grand finals was a swift 4-0.
Yeah,
they were far more contested last year. It was part of the reason why I think this is because contenders, especially in Asia, lost a lot of talent to the Overwatch League. So it's been on a bit of a reset. And O2 Blast retained a lot of the good legacy talent who were underage at the time. So when all the top players, like, you know, the Proppers and the Merits and etc., and even from non-O2 Blast teams, even from like the Talent Esports and stuff back in the day, right? They're all gone. Then what's left ends up being a congregation of good talent, O2 and everyone else. Is part of the reason why O2 are dominating so hard.
It's also everyone wants to go play at O2, right? So
yeah.
They're like the only academy team left, so yeah.
Yeah, like they're the only team with like support, and like if you want to go to the Overwatch League, O2 Blast is the team you want to be on, right? So
you could even be a bench player and go to the Overwatch League from O2 Blast. It's literally happened. So,
all right. So we got that. The qualifiers, as you said, they're ongoing, so they might be over at that point. But I think the tournament starts next Monday, actually, and it goes like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So. If you're USA time zone, like tough luck, dude. But you know, it's going to
catch
be
the VODs.
Yeah, catch the VODs. I mean, that's going to be one of the more like pivotal kind of important contenders events, like leading into the Overwatch League season. You know, I think there's going to be a lot of people watching that because there's tons of talent involved in that tournament. So
it's a good tournament to watch. If you're an Overwatch League person starved of content, you should watch that. Avril, are you going to be co-streaming that shit?
I will be co-streaming some of it and then casting the other part of it. So I am also casting some.
Nice.
It'll be fun.
Nice, dude. All right. Another event that will be happening this weekend is the Overwatch Legends Battle. Oh my god, look at these 4 beautiful teams right here. Look at these logos. GC Busan taking on Team Kongdu Panthera, Lunatikai, and Runaway with some legendary players. Man, I'm just a fucking sucker for this, dude. This is
the rosters.
GC Busan. Illicit. It does have Profit, Alfie, Illicit, Gesture, Hagapun, Neko, and Fielder. So, you know, a mix of, you know, legends and a mix of, you know, trying to round out the roster as well. For Kongdu Panthera, we have Decay, Birdring, Choice one. Void is on there as well. I guess he's, starting military a bit later. Chunksic, Rascal, and Coma. So if we get some Rascal Birdring going,
Rascal on support.
God. Rascal on support. That is true, yeah. Sorry, my bad. My hopium got away from me a little bit. I couldn't even perceive the fact that there's a support logo right next to his name. Also, he's looking for team as a support player, right? So, he's showcase what he's got for us. Lunatic High, man, this is a good one. Eska, Who Are You? Guido, Miro, Ryuji Hong, and Toby. And for Runaway, we got Haxal, Stitch, Hisu, Bumper, Runner, Lee Jae-gon, and Gangnam Jin.
I really hope Runner plays. I really want Runner to play, man.
Yeah,
that was so sick. Dude, Stitch is back too.
Yeah, man. Stitch and Haxal.
I love
and Bumper as a tank.
Haxal's LFT.
He is, yeah.
Who?
Haxal's LFT.
He's LFT.
Also, going back to our fucking previous episode where I was trying to pick up the most handsome roster of all time, all the players retire. When I yeah, that was sick. That was funny. Good shit. I didn't see that coming at all. Definitely not.
Is there some kind of tie-in there that if you're beautiful, you retire from Overwatch? Is there some kind of statistical?
Me,
Oh, okay.
Dude, no, dude. I don't know about that, man.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, this is going to be an absolutely glorious tournament, and it takes place on the 16th and 17th. It's just going to be wonderful. That being said, I am genuinely worried that Lunatic High with Eska, Guido, Who Are You, Miro, and Runaway with Stitch, Bumper, Runner, Gangnam Jin. I worry that Lunatic High and Runaway are gonna get bopped by Kong to Panthera and GC Busan, but we'll see what happens.
It's probably what's gonna happen.
Speaking of Roadhogs, the original 5K player, Mr. Eska on the fucking.
What? Well, that's not Evermore.
Oh, sorry, it was Evermore.
Yeah, that's Evermore.
Hey, man, don't do Overwatch history like that.
Yeah. You can't test Johnny on the 2016-2017 lore.
This guy, there was something about, his positioning as some Cassidy and stuff was great or something like that.
True.
Yeah. Eska is one of Korea's most accomplished professional FPS players. Wow.
He hasn't been playing in a hot minute. What was the last esport he played? Because he was out of Overwatch for a while. He was playing
he was in PUBG, yeah.
PUBG, yeah.
Look at this. PUBG, right? He won that PUBG shit. Won $420,000.
He won $420,000. Was that his team? Actually,
yeah. Well, is it? I mean, they got the fucking bag, right?
Dude, they have two different.
Yeah, no, as a team.
Two different tournaments for third person and first person.
Yeah, as a team.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So, yeah, he got the bag.
What a beast.
Most kills and longest survivor. Here we go.
Wow.
So he was just fucking camping. No, not necessarily. No, not necessarily.
I can't believe Johnny just discredited his entire career.
Yeah, what the fuck?
No, it's going to be fun, though.
Lunatic High probably struggles here just because they don't have enough, current strong talent.
Yeah.
And you can only force Genji so much, so I don't know.
We've been saying that for the last 5 years, and here he is still in the league.
Oh,
so
yeah, but I mean, you look at Kong to Panthera and it's Decay, Birdring, Choice of One, Void, and you're just like,
ridiculous.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's gonna go.
Isn't Rascal LFP for next season as well? Yeah, right? Isn't he trying to play?
Yeah. Support / assistant coach.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
coach.
Good times.
Yeah.
And people forget, but Rascal was actively scrimming this year with Dallas as a support player, so that's why he's that as well. LFT as support.
All right, I'm gonna put you guys on the spot. You're gonna claim your winner for this tournament. All right, I'm gonna go Kong to Panthera. What do you guys got?
Can I see GC Busan's lineup again?
Profit, Alfie, Illicit, Gesture.
I'm going GC Busan.
You're going with Gesture coming and clutching the Roadhog meta.
Dude, Roadhog's better. If there was ever going to be a time, now is it.
Oh, God.
I will go with Johnny's. Yeah, Kong to Panthera, bro. Look at that DPS line. Fucking filth.
And Void. What do you got there, bro? Are you going to feed the Runaway and Lunatic High fans?
No, I got to always go with what my brain says. And I think when you look at it, Fielder's also the best Kiriko at the moment. Neko's just going to have to fucking try whatever he's on. I don't know. But Gesture Hog with Alpha Yi Prophet as a lineup. Woo!
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Pretty sick.
Alpha Yi Prophet is a disgusting DPS line.
Next week, by the way, we're discussing where does Prophet go. Next week, that's the one going to be one topic. Yeah. Prophet is LFT.
Atlanta Rain.
Dude, everyone's fucking LFT right now.
Everybody, yeah.
It is crazy. I can't believe Prophet is LFT. Yeah, so we'll talk about that next year. Anyway, before we wrap up, one more important tournament to go. We got the Calling All Heroes Challengers Cup final. It's going to be an absolute blast. It goes on this weekend as well. We got Washington involved. Yeah.
Custer's favorite.
Hell yeah. Sorry, watching Injustice Red. I don't like you, Jay. It's not you guys, it's me.
This tournament has genuinely popped the fuck off, and I'm so happy that this tournament and this entire
awesome,
kind of like initiative of Calling All Heroes has like popped off to the level it has, and like people are loving it. I did the talent bootcamp thing, where it's like you teach people, you know, or you do a bit of a tutorial essentially on like how to become broadcast talent and how you can improve, and it's an AMA and you ask questions, stuff like that. And there were so many like passionate people who, you know, were genuinely curious about how to get started, this talent as well, and like this tournament has been lit as well. Tons of memes coming out of it, tons of like good games, and you know, there's a lot of personalities involved that are loving this tournament. So definitely hope we get more of this in 2023. But yeah, the finals are going on this upcoming weekend, so that's going to be great as well. Make sure you watch it. Like, and there's going to be owl tokens, so you know, if here you go. I believe I read that. I don't want to chat shit.
For the finals,
for the finals, I believe. Yeah,
I think it might just be the finals that you get owl tokens. And stuff like that.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know why that works. But also, didn't Shock sign a team as well? Like Shock signed one of these teams.
Okay, so this is the interesting. I don't know if they signed a team. They are partnered with a team.
Yeah, something like that.
So I don't know what that means.
It's cool to see our team supporting this kind of stuff as well. Like that's a step in the right direction of like helping.
Yeah, I mean, Vancouver as well had a team. So
yeah, I think there are some out reps.
Vancouver's team is eliminated, I believe, but there's 3 Overwatch League related teams. There's Washington Justice Red. There's Shikigami X Toronto, which I'm trying to find, and then there's Timeless Shock. So Washington Justice Red is obviously the Justice's signed team. They signed a team, and they're fully under the Washington Justice brand. The Shikigami and Timeless still have their own team names, but with an association with an Overwatch League team. So I don't know if that's different, but that's what
that's cool. Regardless,
it's fucking
partnering with a Overwatch League team is fucking sick.
It's awesome.
I'm gonna say,
yeah, go ahead.
What are you gonna say?
The Overwatch Calling All Heroes and the Valorant stuff that happened with their like game changers, which you're saying. I think that the branding of all of those teams is way cooler than any Overwatch League or any professional VCT. I feel like they just like hold themselves way better, and I think they create so many great like moments and that kind of stuff. And I've actually really enjoyed watching it like with all those things as well. So like there's so many
Monkeys
things.
Team. Epic branding.
That's it. Like there's so much awesome branding. There's so much fun, and they're just having a good time. Like I don't know. I just appreciate that stuff. Like so, if that's what you love esports for, and you have not checked that stuff out, you should check it out because they do a really good job with that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have been following much, but the top 2 teams for me are Altiro, Artemis, and Dart Monkeys. I think those are by far the best teams in there, so I think that should probably be the final. I remember from the Empowerment Cup, the one that Vite Ramen did a while back. I was really impressed with Bun and HK. I thought they were like really strong DPS players, and right now in this tournament, it looks like once again like they're the DPS duo doing the most. So Altiro or Artemis is probably the team. Actually, I think these 2 teams are playing soon. In about 6 days time. They're playing on the finals day. So for some reason, the grand finals day, they're playing 4 matches: the upper bracket final, lower bracket semi, lower bracket final, and then the grand final.
In the same day?
In the same day.
Damn,
that's what's been scheduled. So if you were the team in the lower bracket final, you got to go 3 games in a row. That's what it looks like. And the loser of the upper bracket final goes 3 games in a row as well.
It's tough.
Yeah. That matchup, that Artemis versus Dart Monkeys game, is the one to watch, and that's one of the games
that's gonna be good.
Final day. It's the first game, actually, the upper bracket.
Yeah, December 18th. So make sure you catch that. It's gonna be good. Hell yeah! All right, so there we go. You know, we got a decent 2-hour episode here. We had a bunch of topics. So, you know, for next week, we can expect some talk about the Atlanta Reign, Profit being a free agent, Houston Outlaws. Holy shit! I did an AMA on my trip or whatever. There's so many people freaking out, and my questions just like, what are the Outlaws doing with their roster?
Okay.
And then it's like, I tweeted out just like, I got cut, and then people are like, oh my god, what's going on? So yeah, people are wilding. Washington, of course, get amazed, picked up his GM head coach. So there's a bunch of stuff to talk about, and we'll address that next week. So make sure you tune into next week's episode. But yeah, I really enjoyed talking Overwatch 2 with you guys. It's good to be back and chatting shit with you guys, and we can talk about Australia's geography and other stuff.
Yeah, Quackers.
Quackers. Wait, Bren's player of the week. Who's Bren's player of the week?
Oh shit.
Quackers?
Alec Dawson. The whole country of Australia.
Yeah. Oh, good. We're getting warmer. I like this more.
It's because Australia's a hard country.
I think we gave it to Japan in the contenders episode.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for taking care of Bren or something like that. So I don't know.
UK for being too cold.
UK for being too cold? No. That's I say the Quackers. I say we give Bren's player of the week to Quackers.
Congratulations.
An entire species.
I've already forgotten how to spell it. It doesn't matter.
Q-U-K-K-A. Q-U.
Okay.
Bren's player of the week goes to
just to clarify, not the Quakers, the Quackers.
Yeah.
Just
no, Quakers is Q-U-A whatever. Yeah, Q-U.
Quokka.
Q-U-O-K-A.
Quokka.
Yeah.
Okay, in Latin, the Cetonix brachirius. There we go.
What? Wait, what is happening? Dude, me and Custer were saying it right the whole time. Q-U-O-K-K-A.
Yeah, no, I know.
Quokka. The Quokka, mate.
The
Quokka, mate.
The Quokka, mate. All right, Bren's player of the week goes to the Quokka. All right, there we go. Pleasure doing an episode with you guys. Take care, like the video, comment down below. Bye.